Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto is neglected by his parents and shows true power of Aura Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Tusan, Ka-san, Mito-chan, came the excited shout of a young girl who looked to be about 8 years old. She had red hair that was tied into 2 short pigtails. She also had deep, clear cerulean blue eyes and a heart-shaped face, which possessed 3 whiskers on each cheek. She wore a loose red shirt with an orange toad on the front. Her excitement was due to her feet sticking to the surface of a tree after multiple failures of doing so. Before anything could be said, a red blur grabbed the young girl from the tree and did 2 things. Squeeze her tightly to a point she had trouble breathing and spin her around so fast the young girl thought she would puke. The red blur was none other than Kushina Uzumaki, the young girl's proud mother. "I'm so proud of you, dear. You will become a really strong kunoichi very soon." "Your mother is right, Nami-chan," came the proud voice of her father, Minato Namikaze, the yellow flash and 4th Hokage of Konoha. Next to him was another girl that looked exactly like Nami and also looked to be about 8 years old. In fact, the only difference between the two was that her hair was tied into a ponytail, and instead of blue eyes like her father, she possessed the violet eyes of her mother. This young lady is Mito Uzumaki Namikaze, twin sister of Nami Uzumaki Namikaze. "Yes sis, I knew you could do it." She cheered for her younger twin by 6 seconds. She had got the chakra exercise down yesterday, and was waiting for her dear sister so they could advance together. After finally gaining her balance from her mom's spinning hug of death, Nami grinned at her twin. "Yeah, now we can both continue to get stronger and become super powerful kunoichi." The family were then seen talking and playing together happily. To anyone looking at this, then it was the epitome of a picture-perfect family. A loving and proud father, a caring and slightly overprotective mother, and 2 close siblings that loved each other dearly. There was only one problem for this picture: not all members of this perfect family were participating in this loving moment. In fact, the missing family member was watching the whole interaction from a window in the living room. The person was a young boy who was about a year older than the 2 twins. He had spiky blonde hair, similar to his father Minato's, with the tips being blood red in color. He had 3 whisker marks on each cheek, making him look like a fox. His eyes showed that he was heatochrome due to his left being an ocean blue, but his right being a deep violet. He wore an orange jacket that was wide open, with the trademark spiral of the Uzumaki on the back and a black shirt underneath. He also had red underpants and blue shinobi sandals. This young man was Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the neglected son of Minato and Kushina. Naruto was neglected for his younger sisters. This was due to 8 years ago, Konoha was attacked by the Kyuubi no Yoko. The powerful Bijou was forced to attack Konoha by a man who wielded the powerful Sharingan eye of the Uchiha clan. Minato fought the masked man and freed the Kyuubi from his grasp with the help of Jiraiya, who had come to check on the birth of the twins at the time, having missed Naruto's birth because of his spy work. The former 3rd Hokage, along with every available shinobi, held the Kyuubi off as best they could. The Kyuubi, in his anger, and still slightly hypnotized state, began to charge a Bijudama to obliterate Konoha off the map, but due to Minato's appearance, and use of his Hiraishin, was able to teleport the attack away from the burning village. Jiraiya appeared with a battle toad and pushed the Kyuubi back before Minato appeared alongside the boss toad, Gamabunta. Together they were able to force Kyuubi away from the village and into a safer place for their battle. The fight was long and difficult, and the Kyuubi easily showed why it was the strongest of the tailed beasts by not only beating the boss toad, but also the battle toad Gamaken and tossing Minato and a sage mode Jiraiya around like kittens. Knowing they couldn't win the fight, Minato left to get his daughters and Naruto so he could seal the Kyuubi away once again. After a brief argument with his wife and Tsunade, who was the only reason that Kushina was still alive outside her blood as an Uzumaki, he teleported back to the battlefield to see Kyuubi defeat another battle toad Jiraiya summoned named Gamaken. Acting quickly, Minato used the Reaper Death Seal and summoned the Shinigami himself to seal the Kyuubi. Thanks to the help of the Death God, the Kyuubi was split into 3 parts: the Yin Chakra, which went into Nami, the Yang Chakra, which went into Mito, and the Soul, which went into a still confused, but scared Naruto. Due to the Soul having so little chakra, Naruto didn't have to worry about a chakra overload. Ready to have his soul taken, the Shinigami allowed Minato to survive, much to the shock of Jiraiya and the 4th Hokage. The reasoning he gave was that things were being put into motion, and his soul was not needed, but to not expect him to be lenient the next time they meet. Afterwards, Minato told the people of Konoha what happened and told them that his daughters were the heroes of Konoha for holding the beast's power from him. This caused the crowd to cheer for the now dubbed princesses of Konoha. When the twins hit the age of 3, Minato and Kushina began to train them to be able to control the Kyuubi's violent chakra, completely leaving Naruto out due to him not being as special as his sisters. It wasn't just the training that they neglected him from, it was also everything that came with being a family. Birthdays, family outings, family meetings, even dinner sometimes. When he wanted something and the twins wanted something else, well, you could guess what happened with Naruto's choice. Even his own sisters didn't give him much attention, but at least they tried compared to his parents. The villagers, on the other hand, were far worse, due to them believing that Naruto was the demon fox that destroyed their village. They would either glare at him, curse him to death, and attack him on rare occasions. Those who knew Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi, but attacked anyway, believed by hurting the vessel then they were hurting the fox itself, and that was good enough for them. That's not to say everyone treated Naruto badly, he actually was able to make some friends within the village. He had the Hyuga clan, after stalling the Kumo Jonin long enough for Hayashi to incapacitate him and saving Hinata. He also had the backing of the Uchiha clan when Itachi found Naruto bleeding from one of the attacks by the villagers, and took him home to be cared for. He stayed for 2 days and became close friends with both Sasuke and Satsuki Uchiha, Itachi's little brother and sister. His family didn't even notice he was missing. He was also friends with both Im and Tuchiya Chiraku, a daughter-father ramen stand owner who fed Naruto from time to time, and even the third Hokage Hiruzen Sarutobi, who helped train Naruto in seals from time to time. After hearing his parents laugh when Nami fell off the tree on top of Mito, Naruto's eyes narrowed in anger. He just, while not hating them, yet did not like being ignored. He no longer saw any of them as his family, yet still cared for his sisters slightly. He rarely ever refers to himself as Uzumaki or Namikaze unless it's formal, which he hates formalities to begin with. Deciding he had enough of watching his sisters train while leaving him out, he left to his room, walking right past it. He walked past his sister's room as well until he reached the end of the hall and pulled on the rope hanging from the ceiling. A door opened up as a set of stairs descended down and hit the floor softly. These stairs led to the attic of the house. This was Naruto's playground. He conducted all his training in Fuinjutsu, jutsu theories, or even reading of high-grade ninja training here. The attic was very spacious, as can be found in some big houses. More than half of his weapons that he's gathered over the years have been stored here. Naruto pulled down the wallpaper for the attic and used the walls as shelves. There was also a window in the back that allowed light and air into the room. Also, unlike other attics, this one was clean, not a dust or even cobweb could be found. Walking to the left, Naruto placed a scroll that had a fire emblem on it, on the wall shelf. Fire style, intelligent hard work is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, Naruto said out loud. What did you expect? You are a natural wind and water affinity, came a voice from above Naruto, causing him to look up at the one who spoke. The culprit who spoke was a strange creature that possessed blue skin and looked like a childlike canine. It had short black legs and torso, a blue tail, and a yellow collar. It had rounded bumps on the back of its forepaws instead of hands. It wore a black mask and had red eyes with black slit pupils. It wore a smirk as it stared at Naruto. Shut it, Ryolu, it just means that I have to train harder to get it down. After all, I am trying to learn an A-rank jutsu. Yeah, but he does have a point, Naruto. You learn techniques by doing them right, not having the technique blow up like 15 times, came an amused voice that began chuckling. Following the voice's direction, he found the culprit laying near the window and basking in the glow of the afternoon sunlight. The one that spoke was a small slate-gray, fox-like creature with red and black accents. Its ears were a triangular shape along with a large tuft of fur tipped with red on the top of its head. It has greenish, blue eyes with red eyelids. There are circular, red markings above the eyes that resemble eyebrows. Its muzzle is short and tapered with 2 small fangs seen protruding from the upper jaw. It also possessed a ruff of black fur around its neck and 4 short limbs tipped with red. It also had a short bushy tail. Whatever, Zorua, like you have any room to talk, Naruto snipped back while sticking his tongue out at the now named Zorua. In response, the 3 occupants stared at each other for a moment before laughing at their banter to each other. As they laughed, Naruto thought back to when these 2 joined his life, the day he almost lost his smile. The best and worst day of his young life. Flashback 2 years ago. "Tusan, Ka-san!" yelled a 7-year-old Naruto who ran into the house, only to find the place completely empty. Looking around, Naruto saw the house not only clean, but not a single soul was there. "Tusan, Ka-san, where are you?" Still no response. "Nito-chan, Nami-chan, are you guys home?" Nothing. Naruto continued to look around, but still found no one. Naruto ran up the stairs and down the hall to his parents' room. which was left wide open. Naruto was hoping to tell his parents about learning his elemental affinities from Haruzanjiji, and maybe convince them to train him now with his sisters. He knocked on the door before entering the room, only to find it empty too. Deciding to look around the room, Naruto walked over to his parents' desk and noticed something laying there. It was a piece of paper that read Clan Heir documentation. Being a curious child, Naruto read the paper. He was really smart for his age, even if he was a goofy kid, and was downright crying by the end of the paper. The paper read: due to circumstances of not only strength and political ingenuity, we, Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki, head of the Namikaze and Uzumaki clans, hereby denounce Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze as clan heir of both clans and transfer the titles to Mito Uzumaki as head of the Uzumaki clan and Nami Namikaze as head of the Namikaze clan when they reach the age of 10. This is agreed upon by both clan heads. Minato Namikaze, Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto could not believe what he just read. He didn't want to believe what he just read. His clan heir status, the only real connection he had left emotionally to his family, has been taken from him. He couldn't take it anymore right now. He had to get away. So he ran. He ran so fast through the village that he didn't even register the glares or sneers of the villagers. He continued to run until he reached the training grounds where he normally trains at alone, Training Ground 3. How could they do this to me? Naruto cried mentally as the hot tears flowed down his whiskered cheeks. I barely have anyone to call a friend, no one really gives me the time of day, and my parents don't even want me. Falling to the ground next to the big lake, Naruto curled into a ball as he cried harder. Due to all of his crying, Naruto never noticed the giant ripple forming in the lake, or the giant shadow that looked through the ripple with red eyes and black pupils before it flew off. The ripple lasted for a few moments before vanishing once again. A few hours later, Naruto woke up due to crying himself to sleep near the riverbank. As he got up, Naruto stretched and yawned before looking at his reflection in the water, seeing that his face filled with the indication of dried tears. Deciding to clean up his face before going home, Naruto bent forward to wash his face in the lake, only to trip on the wet ground and fall forward into the water. Before Naruto hit the water though, a ripple appeared in the water once again, and this time a loud roar was heard from it. This caused Naruto's eyes to widen in fear and only got wider as the water seemed to become circular and cave in on itself, exactly where Naruto was falling in. Naruto did the only thing he could think of in that brief moment. Scream out in fear and shock. HHH help, were his last words before the portal completely shut and the ripples on the water vanished, like it was never there in the first place. After falling through the hole in the water, Naruto found himself falling up from the lake. He landed safely on a patch of grass and took quick breaths from screaming so loud and with no breath intake. Getting up, he finally took notice of where he was at, which essentially meant he was clueless. For miles, the only thing Naruto could see was a thick fog. The only other visible thing to him was the cut grass and the lake behind him. Starting to get nervous again, Naruto looked around quickly and began calling out to see if anyone was around. Hello? Is anybody there? Please, this isn't funny. Suddenly Naruto heard rustling of grass to his left. Quickly pushing down his rising fear, he looked to the source, but saw nothing there. Hello, is anyone there? He called out in a much quieter tone than before. This time the rustling happened again, and looking quickly he saw a patch of brown among the green grass. Hello, can you help me? The response to his question was for the brown patch to take off in the opposite direction from him. This caused Naruto to give chase after it and continue calling to it. Wait, stop. Please, wait up. After running what seemed like 30 minutes, but it was only 5 minutes, they exited the small grass enough for Naruto to see what he was chasing. It was a small, brown fox-like creature with primarily brown fur. The tip of its bushy tail and its large furry collar were a cream color. It had short, slender legs with 3 toes and a pink pad on each foot. It had big brown eyes, long pointed ears, and a small black nose. Naruto looked very confused, having never seen a strange-looking fox before in his short, miserable life. It actually looks kinda cute, Naruto said mentally. You're really fast, you know that? He wasn't kidding, it took everything he had just to keep the little guy, or girl, in his sights. Let alone catch it. The fox's response to his question was to tilt its head to the side, as if not understanding his words at all. Eevee? Was the response it gave to Naruto. Is that your name, Eevee? Naruto asked, only for it to shout Eevee one more time and run off at incredible speeds. Hey, wait. But Naruto's shout fell on deaf ears due to the fox being out of sight already. Great, Naruto sighed. Now who can help explain to me what's going on? RRRGGH was the response that Naruto got to his question. The roar caused Naruto to jump 5 feet in the air out of fright. He looked up to see who the culprit was and regretted that decision immediately. It was a large, almost as big as the Kyuubi, creature with a serpent-like body, with 6 black ghostly streamers protruding from its back that also had red-tipped spikes at the ends. Instead of having 4 legs, the creature had 6 spikes on each side and 4 more additional spikes near the edge of its tail. It also possessed 3 gold half-rings that could probably grasp onto things tightly. It also had a golden arch on its forehead and a golden mask on its mouth. Its cold red eyes gazed fiercely at Naruto, who began to shake in fear. Who could blame him, though? Here he was, a young boy who only just started his training and only knows tree walking and his elements. Now here's a creature, bigger than anything he has seen before. Not only that, but said creature just seemed to ooze power that made Naruto feel dizzy. Naruto in his fear took an unconscious step back from the very intimidating creature before him. There is no way I'm just going to stand here and get eaten by this thing, Naruto yelled mentally as he tensed his muscles to run off to the surrounding fog. I could use the fog to cover my escape. Noticing his tensing muscles, the creature looked into Naruto's fearful eyes. You know, running would be pointless, young one, came a powerful voice that seemed to invade Naruto's mind. Naruto jumped up slightly from the surprise of the voice. He landed hard on his butt that caused Naruto to wince in pain. Ow, he said as he rubbed his butt. The creature seemed to chuckle at what happened. It found amusement in Naruto's fear. Yeah, very funny, Naruto mumbled before he paused in shock. Wait, was that you? He pointed at the creature that nodded its head. Yes, child. My name is Giratina, master of the reverse world and second in command of the Pokemon contract, the creature, now called Giratina, responded. Naruto tilted his head to the side in confusion. Pokemon? Reverse world? Seeing the confusion on Naruto's face, Giratina sighed at the lack of knowledge Naruto had, not that he could blame him. Giratina went into an explanation on Pokemon. Pokemon are summons of immense and diverse power. We each have our own typings such as water, fire, lightning, but he was interrupted by an excited Naruto. Kind of like the elements for jutsus. Yes, like what you use for your jutsu. We also have other elements though, such as flying, ground, poison, and dark. You wouldn't know of us due to us not having a summoner for a very long time. I could go into a whole speech as and why, but we don't have that kind of time. Okay, but what is the reverse world? Naruto asked curiously. Strange how he feels more relaxed with this giant, powerful, and admittedly scary creature than he does with other people. This is the reverse world. It's a world that exists on the opposite side of reality. It's a world connected to reality, and is a wonderful place, though confusing for some. This is where the Pokemon of the contract reside now, kinda like how the toads have empty Maiboku. Okay, but why am I here, Giratina sir? Naruto asked cautiously, even though he honestly had no clue what he meant. There was no way him falling into this world was a simple coincidence. The kid is smart, he's guarded and ready to act if he has to. By the way his muscles tensed at his question, Giratina thought. To be blunt, Naruto, we want you to be our summoner. Naruto opened his mouth to question more, but Giratina continued. Our boss summon, Arceus, who is also my elder sister, has been watching you. She would be here talking to you, but she had a meeting she could not miss. She chose you because of your will, determination, heart, and your want to protect others, along with who your ancestor was. So Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, will you be our new summoner? Yes, I would be honored to sign your contract, sir, Naruto said, trying to stop his tears of joy. Someone else actually believed in him. Then Naruto, Giratina began in a warm tone. Welcome to the world of Pokemon, and with that the fog began to clear and revealed to Naruto the most amazing sight he has ever seen. Flashback end. After that, Naruto was given 2 eggs to raise by Giratina. These 2 eggs held Naruto's starter Pokemon that he had to raise for a bit till they hatched. 2 months after raising them, the eggs finally hatched. The blue and black striped one became Riolu, while the black egg with red dots became Zorua. Ever since meeting Giratina and the Pokemon, Naruto has been training non-stop. He even goes to the reverse world often to be with the other Pokemon, instead of staying in the village. He learned so many different fighting styles from the fighting-type Pokemon, how to hunt and survive, and most importantly, how to battle like a Pokemon. You see, thanks to Giratina, Naruto is training to be an Aura Guardian. It turns out Aura is more of a gift for Naruto than Chakra was. They told him about the different Aura users and Aura Guardians there were, about how the Guardians kept the world in balance for all of Pokemon, and humankind. Aura users had the capability to use any and all Pokemon attacks, but the Aura user had to train in the attack to raise its effectiveness. Also, the higher level of the attack, the more aura it burns. The more aura it burns, the more tired the user. Aura worked in a similar way to nature chakra. The user pulls in the aura of the element of the attack and mixes it with the aura of the user. The two auras then mix together and form the attack, with no use of hand signs. The more mastery of the attack, the faster it forms. The amount of aura each attack uses differ, the only real limit depends on the user's stamina. The more stamina, the more attacks that could be used. Right now Naruto could use basic attacks from each type, but using them too much will really tire him out. In Pokemon standards, he was about as strong as a level 15 Pokemon without the experience, so about as strong as a high genin in ninja standards. Speaking of ninja, he has not neglected his ninja training at all. He has learned the Academy Jutsu and could do them without hand signs. He also has 5 C-rank Jutsus, 2 D-rank Water Jutsus, and currently trying to learn an A-rank Fire Jutsu, not much success. To anyone paying attention, Naruto is actually a genius to near prodigy levels, though book work is still not his thing. He practically soaks up information like a sponge, always training. Heck, it took his sisters 2 days to master tree walking while it only took him 30 minutes, and that's only because he had no one to teach him along with having high chunin reserves of chakra at the time. So Naruto, what's the plan now that you start the academy in a week? Riolu asked the young blonde. Yeah, that's a good question. Zoro responded. You won't have all the free time to enter the reverse world anymore. Well, I'm honestly not too sure, but I know I won't be hiding everything since that would leave me unwanted by the other Jonin instructors. This caused the 2 Pokemon to look at Naruto with a deadpan expression before saying simultaneously. Don't lie, the only real reason is because you want to show off. This caused Naruto to chuckle nervously and to rub the back of his head. Okay, you caught me. It doesn't hurt that I'll be beating the precious golden twins at everything too. Don't get Naruto wrong, he doesn't despise his sisters, but he doesn't like nor trust them either. The same could be said for everyone else in his family, he doesn't hate any of them. He's more numb to them than anything. As an Aura Guardian, it's best not to hate. Well, before that, we should go see what Lady Arceus wanted from us since we will be late in 10 minutes, Riolu said, already walking towards the exit with Zoro next to him. Yeah, we should wait, what? Naruto responded dumbly before seeing the sun getting lower, signifying it to be late noon. Why didn't you say anything earlier? I don't want my first meeting with Lady Arceus to be bad. Naruto began to panic as he thought about Giratina. It's a well-known fact that Giratina did not tolerate tardiness of any kind. Adding to the fact that he would be meeting the main boss summon and someone even Giratina, who Naruto knows is very powerful, could not defeat. Because watching you scramble around like a combuskin with its head cut off is hilarious, Riolu said, chuckling as Zoro was holding his stomach as he laughed at Naruto. I hate you guys, Naruto responded as he narrowed his eyes at them. And we bathe ourselves squeaky clean with your hate, Riolu responded in kind, causing Zoro to laugh harder. Riolu began to follow suit as he too held his stomach from laughing so hard at the blonde, causing Naruto to glare harder at them. As hilarious as making fun of Naruto is, Zoro said, finally getting his laughter under control, though he could wipe the grin off his face. We really should get going. Yeah, you're right, let's go, Naruto responded, opening the window. Let's meet at our usual training ground. The 2 Pokemon nodded as they leapt out the window into the tree and made their way to the training ground. Naruto sighed as he put everything away and made his way down the attic stairs. After closing the attic, Naruto walked past the living room and looked to the backyard where his parents were still training his sisters. Naruto slipped out the house, no one knowing he was even home. After 10 minutes of running through the village, ignoring the usual glares, he arrived to the training ground where he saw Riolu and Zoro waiting for him. Naruto quickly flares his chakra, alerting them of his arrival, which both of them responded by dropping from the tree they were in and land next to the lake. Wordlessly, Naruto walked to the crystal-clear water before putting his palm on the surface and flowing his aura through it. For a second, nothing happened. Suddenly the water collapsed in on itself and the portal to the reverse world opened. Naruto, along with the 2 Pokemon summons, quickly jumped into the portal, and like before, it closed without ever leaving a trace. Jumping down, a young man with black, raven-like hair appeared in the clearing. His coal-black eyes searched around before quickly turning red with 3 black tomos encircling the black pupil as he looked around. This eye change meant the activation of one of Konoha's 2 great dojutsus, the Sharingan, signifying this person as an Uchiha. This young man was Itachi Uchiha, the heir and prodigy of the Uchiha clan. Where did Naruto go? I know I saw him here, Itachi said out loud. Maybe he went further ahead, and with that he took off towards the trees to look for his surrogate little brother. The reverse world. Naruto and his partners landed on the ground softly and took quick notice of their surroundings, saw all kinds of Pokemon running around. Before Naruto could say anything, a brown blur quickly tackled Naruto to the ground as it squealed in joy. Eevee, Eevee, Eevee. Eevee, relax and use your words, Naruto said as he pet the brown fox. Sorry, Naruto-chan. I was just really glad to see you guys, Eevee said, signifying it as a girl. We were just here yesterday, Riolu replied, amused by his friend's actions. Yeah, but Eevee said, and began to explain how lonely she was, even though she has friends everywhere. Zoro zoned out the young talking Eevee and looked around, searching for Giratina. He opened the gate for them, so where was he? As soon as that thought crossed his mind, a giant and familiarly shaped shadow loomed over them. Looking up, they saw the ruler of the reverse world himself. Giratina! It took you long enough to arrive here, Naruto, Giratina said in a tone that obviously said be careful how you respond. Deciding to be cautious so to not piss off a beast with enough power to wipe him off the face of existence, Naruto swallowed hard and responded. I'm sorry for keeping you, Giratina. I was training to learn a new fire jutsu and lost track of time. He bowed to show respect to the mighty beast. Giratina stared Naruto down to see if he was lying before sighing. At least you were being productive, now raise your head. Lady Arceus will be here in a moment. Naruto stood straight and Pokemon of all kinds, even the ever-excitable Eevee, stopped and looked up as they waited for the one that gave them life. They waited for 2 minutes in silence before a colorful portal opened in the air above the awaiting crowd. The portal released a stream of light that instantly made the slightly darkened sky light up in a burst of colors. Red, blue, green, yellow, the entire sky lit with a mesmerizing mix of colors that left Naruto wide-eyed and breathless. After a few moments staring at the beauty of the lights, a sudden pressure of power rushed at everyone. It was like being slammed by a steel staff right into the middle of your chest. It took a while before Naruto and everyone, other than Giratina, to be able to gain their bearings once again. The power was unlike anything they have felt before. It was both scary and divine. An orb of light burst through the colorful portal and flew through the sky with high speeds. After a few seconds, the orb grew larger and began to take shape. Soon the light faded and a creature as big as Giratina took its place. The creature was a white equine resembling a qilin or centaur with a gray, vertically striated underside. The striated pattern has similar recurrences on the underside of its mane, tail, and face. It had 4 pointed feet which possessed golden tips. The long mane juts away from its head and its face is gray, with green eyes and red pupils, and a green circular pattern below its eyes. It also has a streak of gold coloration on its head, and ears that point upwards. Its neck is fairly long, with 2 pairs of extrusions to the sides, and a flap-like feature on the neck's underside that is colored white like much of its body. It also had a golden cross-like wheel attached to its body by its round abdomen. The wheel also has 4 jewels attached to each of its corners. This being was Arceus, the alpha Pokemon. The boss of the Pokemon summoning contract. The Kami of Pokemon and the only creature that could fight Kami herself on even grounds. Instantly, all the Pokemon around Naruto bowed down to show respect to the descending alpha Pokemon. Naruto was so mesmerized by the mighty legend that he could not move from his spot. Arceus giggled at the surprised look on Naruto's face. You know, Naruto-kun, you might want to shut your mouth eventually lest you catch Subats, Arceus said in a soothing tone. Naruto instantly shut his mouth and smiled at the giant Pokemon. It's an honor and pleasure to meet you, Lady Arceus. Naruto quickly bowed. Just call me Arceus, Naruto-kun, she said, amused, knowing of his hatred for formalities. Like you, I'm not one for formalities if I can avoid them. Naruto smiled at Arceus' choice of words. He knew right then and there that he was going to enjoy working with her. Of course, Arceus. Arceus smiled warmly at Naruto. She could get used to this. Better than being around Giratina all the time with his annoying rules and regulations. It's so annoying having to listen to his long list of annoying rules all the time. Not to sound rude, Arceus, but why was it that you called for a meeting with me today? Naruto asked curiously. Yes, let's get to business. Naruto-kun, I need to have you tested in battle, to see if you are ready for the higher levels. Some of the other legendaries, who have been watching you train, wish to train you themselves so you can get stronger and show the world our strength. Okay, but who will I be fighting? Naruto asked, confused, yet excited. Naruto not only had the legendaries wanting to teach him, but he gets to prove himself to them. I need you to eliminate a bandit camp for me. They recently attacked a village and are now hiding out in Fire Country. I want them dead. They have raped, murdered, and pillaged. The village, with its few members left, is thinking of sending help out to Konoha, but that's where you come in. I understand, Arceus, Naruto responded with a serious look on his face. His eyes went from a childish light to a dim one that could be seen in the eyes of a hardened warrior. This test is meant for you alone, so I'm afraid Riolu and Zora shall remain here. Am I correct to assume that you are well equipped already? Naruto nodded to the Pokemon God's question. Good, then your mission starts now. I'll teleport you there now. Arceus's green eyes suddenly glowed white as a white aura surrounded Naruto's body before he vanished in a flash of light. Turning to Giratina, Arceus smiled, yet retained her serious attitude. So little brother, how do you think Naruto-kun will do? All of the Pokemon instantly turned to look at Giratina, especially Riolu and Zorua, for an answer. Honestly, I'm not worried at all. Young or not, Naruto is quite well trained and ready for those bandits, Giratina said, smiling back at his sister before looking up and frowned. Though there is one major problem. Arceus looked worried at his words. What's the problem? She asked him. Giratina's head snapped at her as a very annoyed look came upon his face. You left your damn portal open again. I'm sorry! Arceus yelled out in response as she ran off, chased by Giratina, who was going to punish her for forgetting to close her portal in his dimension, again. Forest, 30 miles away from Konoha. Naruto, in a flash of white, appeared in the forest. After landing on the ground, Naruto leant on a tree for support as he felt dizzy. Man, it's going to be a while before I get used to that, Naruto said, groaning. Shaking his head to knock out the cobwebs, Naruto stood up and looked around. I'm hunting a camp, so that means a group of people. So let's get to work. Naruto's eyes suddenly glowed blue, a sky blue color, and watched as the world around him became different. Instead of the colors of the world, all he saw was the outline of objects, and a blue energy flowing through said objects. The blue energy was the life energy, or aura, of the objects. After sensing for a few more moments, Naruto felt a large group of people in single area. Got them, he said before taking off into the trees. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze was ready for battle. Namikaze compound. Everyone has just finished training for the day. Kushina was making ramen, while trying to make one of the hardest decisions of her life. Miso or pork? Minato Namikaze had to leave, back to his office, due to a meeting being called. Apparently the civilian council wants funding for more civilian stores to be built. Mito was taking a shower to wash off a hard day's work of sweat and mud. Nami, on the other hand, was bored, already having taken a shower. Suddenly she remembered something very important. She had a brother. Due to all the training she had been going through recently, she had forgot all about him. He would play with her. With that thought in mind, she got up from the couch and went towards the stairs to her older brother's room. Where are you going, Nami-chan? Kushina asked her daughter, seeing her going towards the stairs. Oh, I'm just going to see if Naruto wants to play with me, she replied as she ran up the steps to play with her brother. The mere thought of him playing with her made her smile, since they haven't gotten time to actually be siblings due to all the training. Kushina, on the other hand, looked confused for a second. Naruto, she thought before her eyes widened in realization, shock, horror, and finally guilt. Oh my god, Naruto! I forgot my own Sochi-kun. How could I forget about my only son? What kind of mother am I? She continued this mental thought for a while. Naruto, her sweet baby boy, never crossed her mind. The one to give light to her world was completely forgotten. She looked at the setup on the table and felt even more guilt. 4 bowls, 5 chairs. The chair that they used for guests, but not their own son. Kushina couldn't feel any lower than she does right now. If anyone asked her something about Naruto, she wouldn't be able to answer the question because she didn't know anything. She could name off all of Mito's and Nami's likes, dislikes, future plans, favorite colors and foods, but when she thought of Naruto's, she drew a blank due to having no answers. No matter how hard she thought or how much she prayed to find an answer to anything regarding Naruto personally, she got nothing. She couldn't even think if he liked ramen or not. She began to cry and sob. How could I forget my son? I have to talk to Minato. We have to make things right again. Ka-san, Mito-chan. Came a slightly panicked cry from upstairs. Kushina instantly knew it was Nami, so she dropped what she was doing and ran upstairs in a matter of seconds. She found both her daughters looking into a room with worry etched on their faces. Kushina walked over to the room with worry and feeling herself getting more anxious with each step. What's wrong, honey? Kushina asked in as calm a tone as she possibly could. Naruto's gone. I can't find him anywhere, Nami yelled out, causing Kushina's worry to increase. Kushina looked into her son's room, only for her guilt and worry to grow even more. Naruto's room was extremely bare, to be blunt. There was nothing there to indicate that a young boy lived there. The bed was small and neatly made. Not a crease could be found on it anywhere. There was a hamper by the door, but no dirty clothes were there. There was no posters on the walls, no papers anywhere. The room itself was a dull blue that could be mistaken for gray. The desk had a small book on it, but it looked like it hadn't been opened in years, if the collected dust on it was anything to go by. Kushina walked over to the book and read the title, Survival Tactics. Surviving alone in the wild. The title was enough to scare her. Picking up the book, a piece of paper fell out as it floated gently to the ground. Picking up the paper, Kushina saw it was a picture. Looking at it, Kushina nearly burst into tears at what was in the picture. It was a picture of the family, all with happy smiles on their faces. Kushina wore her usual outfit, the green dress with the brown apron over it, and her hair brushed down. In front of her was Mito in a white dress and her usual ponytail. To her left was Minato in his Hokage outfit and Nami, who was wearing a blue dress, on his shoulders. What made her cry was that Naruto was nowhere in the picture. This picture was a year old and even said Namikaze's family on the top, but Naruto was nowhere to be found. Kushina couldn't take it anymore. She let out a cry and sob as she realized just how bad a mother she was. She channeled chakra into her ring, activating the seal inside it. She needed to speak to Minato now. Near the bandit camp, Naruto stood on a tree branch, overlooking the bandit camp. It was a relatively normal campsite with around 15 tents, and 2 fire pits that looked to have been used for the previous night. What made Naruto livid was what was at the edge of the camp. It was 3 medium-sized cages with iron bars. Each cage contained 5 girls whose ages ranged from 1 6-year-old in the middle cage, and the rest being about 11 to 16. They all wore rags that barely hid their modesty from the world. Naruto decided it would be safest to wait until the sun set a little more, giving him more cover. I can't be too careful in a possible hostage situation, Naruto said mentally. I'll wait for about 2 hours, then I'll get them out of there, and make those vile men pay. 2 hours have passed, and the sun had set enough to where it was tougher to see the surrounding area. The sky had become darker thanks to rising moon, though the sun was still in the sky slightly. The bandits have become drunk in this time frame and on occasion, harassed their prisoner. Thankfully they did not lay their hands on them yet. Apparently they planned to sell the girls to a guy named Gato as slaves. Naruto vowed to find this man and kill him. Jumping down from his perch and landing silently, Naruto hid behind a bush and made his way to the captured girls. Psst, behind you, Naruto whispered, gaining the attention of the girls who looked in his direction. Naruto put his finger to his lips to keep them quiet. I'm here to get you all out of here. What I have planned for your captors is not pretty, so keep the youngest from seeing. They nodded, though skeptical since Naruto was still a kid himself, but what did they have to lose, and blindfolded the 6-year-old girl, who Naruto heard was named Cynthia. Walking away from the cages, Naruto concentrated his aura to his hand before releasing his first attack. Vine Whip, Naruto whispered. His palm glowed green for a second before green vines shot out from them and wrapped around one of the nearby thugs and tugged him towards the bushes. Pulling out a kunai, Naruto stabbed it through the back of the thug's neck, killing him instantly. Feeling his stomach churn at the sight of the man he killed, Naruto had to swallow down the urge to vomit. He just killed someone, even if he deserved it. He killed a living person. He's become a monster. His hands began to shake as he began to dry heave, the urge to vomit becoming too much to handle. He looked at his shaking hands and the sight of the bloody mess on the ground. He was a monster, a killer, a murderer. Turning his head, he saw the sight of the imprisoned girls and saw that their once broken eyes were now filled with a glimmer of hope. They found hope in the fact that he said he will free them. Taking a deep breath, Naruto remembered why he was doing this. He was doing this to save those girls, he was doing this to give them a chance, he was doing this to eliminate the trash that littered the beautiful world. Naruto's eyes snapped back to his usual determined look, with a new fire lit in his eyes. Taking a deep breath and focusing his aura once more, he shot his hands forward as he called out his next attack. Whirlwind. This time his glowing palms released a powerful burst of wind that not only blew the bandits away but the tents and fire pits too. The bandits screamed out in surprise and confusion as some slammed into trees or simply tumbled forward. 2 bandits died as their spines snapped as it slammed into a tree directly. What the hell was that? One of the thugs yelled out before a kunai was embedded into his forehead, killing him. Seeing the kunai, one of the thugs got nervous. Oh shit, it's a ninja. He knew they were in trouble since none of them were trained well enough to fight a ninja. I'm out of here. He got up to run, only for his jugular to be cut open by another kunai slicing through its flesh, and the last thing he saw was cold blue eyes before his vision went dark. Hearing the body hit the floor, the remaining thugs turned to it, only to see Naruto standing there while slightly coated in the blood of his recent victim. What the fuck? It's just some damn kid! Another thug yelled out angrily. Naruto only looked at the thug coldly before tightening the grip on his kunai before whispering. Quick attack, and Naruto moved in a blur too fast for any of them to see. The thug that yelled angrily found himself no longer able to breathe, looking down with eyes to find Naruto had stabbed his kunai through his heart. The thug fell back dead. Naruto looked around to find that he only had about 9 of the thugs left, so who's next? Kill that brat! A very muscular thug yelled. This caused each one to charge at Naruto, thinking he would be easy since he was a kid. That was a big mistake. One of the thugs came upon Naruto and launched his fist towards Naruto's face, but Naruto ducked out of the way and tripped him easily. Sensing someone behind him, Naruto rolled forward as another thug tried to grab him. Naruto had no time to rest though, as another thug swung his feet towards Naruto's face, who jumped and slammed his on the thug's legs before jumping off and released another vine whip. The vines quickly wrapped around the thug easily before Naruto flung him into 3 other thugs. You should have been more careful. Release. Naruto released a pulse of chakra. Hearing a hissing sound, the thug looked at his leg and saw an exploding tag on the left leg that Naruto slammed his hands onto earlier. The 4 thugs' eyes widened before the tag exploded, killing all 4 of them. Naruto leaned back, not having time to admire his handiwork, dodging a log that one of the thugs picked up for a weapon. This is too easy, Naruto smirked. Charging towards the thug, who brought the log up to block Naruto, the blonde smirked before yelling out. Not going to work, rock smash! Naruto's fist quickly glowed a brown-white before easily smashing through the log and hitting the thug in the face, whose neck snapped upon impact. The thugs took a step back in fear as Naruto's eyes glowed blue with aura once more. Just what the hell is this kid? Were the last thoughts of the thugs before a cold wind blew and froze them all solid. Icy wind, Naruto whispered as his breathing became a bit shaggy. Naruto may have a lot of stamina, but he wasn't used to doing so many attacks one after the other like that yet. Add to the fact that icy wind was used on multiple targets instead of just one, and he added more power to the attack to be sure that it would freeze them all, made him really tired. Naruto activated his rock smash attack once more and crushed the remaining frozen thugs. Now to save those girls, Naruto said before running to the camp's direction again. Namikaze compound. Minato Namikaze has just flashed into his home next to his distraught wife, worry etched into his face. He had been walking his way home, enjoying the peace after having to deal with the annoying council meeting, when he felt a sudden pull from one of Horatian seals. This worried him since the pull trail, a trail that he can follow one of his seals is activated, lead to the compound. Not wasting a second, he flashed to his house and saw his wife on the ground and crying along with his 2 daughters. Kushina-chan, what's wrong? Minato asked, holding his wife in his arms. Talk to me, what happened? Kushina looked into Minato's eyes as her tears continued to fall. Minato, I'm such a horrible mother. With each sobbing word, her tears flowed at a faster rate, until her cheeks were covered in tears. Her eyes were red from all her crying and her nose was beginning to look puffy. Minato's heart broke upon seeing his wife in such a state, but at the same time he was confused by her words. A horrible mother? What happened to make her think such a thing? He looked to his daughters, who were also crying while holding on to each other for comfort. Kushina-chan, you know that isn't true. Ever since their birth, you've done an amazing job raising Nami and Nito. I mean, look at them, so young and yet already they are both talented and beautiful. All our family outings and special occasions that you catch on camera and never miss a single one. I doubt I could raise our 2 wonderful children into the amazing girls that they are becoming if I was alone, while also being Hokage. You are a wonderful mother, Kushina. Kushina's eyes widened as her mind raced at Minato's words, and not in joy like he may think. Our daughter's 2 children's special occasions. Each time it was only Nito and Nami, but what about her son? I have never missed our daughter's special moments growing up, but what about our son's special moments? Oh Minato, what have we done? Kushina opened her mouth to voice these questions yet no words came out, only more yelling of sadness and regret. Minato was caught off guard by Kushina's yell of anguish. What did I say? Minato was thoroughly confused now. He figured his words would help make things better, not worse. Even his daughter seemed to be crying louder now, too. I really don't understand, woman. Kushina-chan, please, tell me what is going on so I can help you. Minato-kun, it's Naruto. Kushina managed to finally yell out through her sobbing, which by the way left a huge wet spot on Minato's vest. Naruto? Minato thought before his eyes widened in realization and worry. The young Kage finally took notice of where he was and realized that this was not his daughter's, or the guest room, this was his son's. This desolate, plain room belonged to his only son. Kushina, tell me, what happened to Naruto? Minato slowly began having a sinking feeling in his heart. Fighting back another sob, Kushina explained what she noticed. From forgetting to feed Naruto, to forgetting that he was even their son. Hearing each word spoken, Minato felt his regret, shame, and guilt rise. He was a Hokage, and one of the best that Konoha has had, and yet he completely forgot about his own son. He never meant to forget Naruto, he just wanted the best for everyone. He had to do something. Kushina-chan, Mito-chan, Nami-chan, Minato began, getting the attention of the crying Uzumaki girls. Where is Naruto-kun right now? He had to make things right again. The one who answered was Nami, who shakily stood up from crying along with Mito. We don't know. I came here to play with Oniai-chan, but I couldn't find him or anything that said he was even there in the first place. Fresh tears began to flow from her eyes. She was worried that her older brother ran away. Unknowing that her sister had the same worry etched into her heart as well. What if their elder sibling ran off because of them? Minato, deciding that they needed to talk to Naruto as soon as possible, made a quick hand sign as he focused. He searched for the Horatian seal that is placed on all of his children's clothing, that way if they were in trouble he could flash to them, or call them to him. Finding the seal he was searching for, which was worryingly out of the village, but thankfully still within his range, and made hand signs as he gathered his chakra. Flying Thunder God, Stage 3, Summoning. He threw a tri-pronged kunai onto the ground and watched as it glowed, and in a flash of yellow, Naruto appeared, causing the family to gasp and worry at his appearance. His hair was messy and his eyes widened in shock. He was sweaty and his clothing was ruffled and ripped in different places. Also signs of cuts from a blade could be identified easily, but what made them gasp was the blood. The blood that slightly dripped from his body was fresh. He had cuts and bruises throughout his body, though they were healing at a slow rate. He gripped a kunai in his left hand that had fresh blood drip from it. Minato was shocked. Kushina had more tears fall from her eyes, which also held motherly fury at the sight of her hurt child. Nami and Mito were both scared at the sight of their brother being hurt, and determination in their eyes to make the culprit pay for doing so. Looking around, Naruto was confused. One moment he's fighting for his life against a dangerous opponent, and the next he appears in a random location. What the hell is going on? Naruto voiced his confusion as he turned to face his family. What the hell am I doing here? The forest, before Minato summoned Naruto. That was one hell of a rush, Naruto reminisced as he jumped from tree to tree. He landed at the destroyed bandit camp and saw the cages holding the imprisoned girls. He walked up to the cages and spoke to calm them down. Okay girls, I'm going to get you out of there. I already took care of the other thugs, you're free now. He watched with a small smile on his face as he saw most of them cry tears of joy at finally being free again and being able to see their families again. The others were looking at Naruto suspiciously, still not fully trusting him. You girls might want to stand back from the bars. Deciding not to question him, they did as he told them. Naruto gave a quick shout of leaf blade and his hands were covered in green energy that took shape of small blades. Walking up, he swung his hands and the blades of green energy easily cut through the bars. The bars lazily fell out of place, leaving a gaping hole for the imprisoned girls to get out. All the girls ran out, some hugged and screamed out thank you over and over while others thanked him from a distance. Naruto told them they were very welcome and he was glad to help, though his cheeks gained a rosy blush at the contact of all the girls who barely had anything covering them. Naruto opened his mouth to speak, before his eyes widened as his danger sense went haywire. Get down! Naruto yelled while grabbing as many of the girls as he could and dragging them to the ground. The other girls quickly followed suit as a twin side-bladed axe flew over their heads and embedded itself into a tree. The girls screamed out in fear, while Naruto looked around, forgetting his aura sense in his worry. Well, 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 a male voice seemed to echo throughout the clearing. By how gruff the voice sounded, Naruto put the man in his mid-30s. Also judging by how big the axe was, this guy's was physically strong. It seems a hero has come to steal my collection, even going so far as to kill my guard dogs. Maybe if you kept your dogs on a leash, I wouldn't have needed to put them down. Naruto taunted in return, as he calmed his nerves. Quickly activating his aura sight, opting to hit himself later for forgetting it, Naruto looked around and saw everyone's blue aura flowing, except for one that made Naruto pause in shock. That little girl, Cynthia, had purple mixed into her aura. This is the first time Naruto has ever seen something like this, and he had no clue what that could have meant. I don't have time to worry about that right now, though. I have to find him. Naruto saw a massive aura signature moving towards one of the girls from behind the bushes. Vine whip! Naruto called out as the green vine shot out towards the hidden man and wrapped around him. Now get out here! And with a shout, Naruto tugged the man from his hiding place and into the air before slamming him into the ground within the clearing. The girls looked at Naruto in awe. This young boy, no older than 9, just lifted a full-grown man. It was incredible. Cynthia was the only one not awed into silence, evident by her loud cheering of how cool Naruto was right now. Naruto never took his eyes off the man as his vines returned to him, seeing the man's aura still flowed. The man slowly got up, without so much as a wince of pain. In fact, he chuckled in amusement. A wood-release user? Aren't you just full of surprises, kid? Any village would pay handsomely for you. The man grinned in amusement. When he stood full height, Naruto got a better look at him. The man was the definition of big, standing at 6 feet 9 inches. He had big muscles, but they were also lean, showing they were used for speed as well as strength. He had spiky white hair, that was black in the center. He had brown eyes, full of dark humor. He wore a torn-up, tight red shirt and black puffy pants. He also wore blue shinobi-style sandals. He had 2 axes, like the one he threw earlier, tied to his waist by a yellow training belt. He gave Naruto a hard look and released some of his killing intent. Naruto sweated slightly at the feeling he got from the man. This guy wasn't your ordinary run-of-the-mill bandit. Knowing this won't be easy, Naruto whispered to the girls, listen, when I say go I want you all to run north. This won't be a normal fight like with those other bandits. This guy is on a whole other level of strength. I can't fight and protect you at the same time. So get ready because I will make a clone that will run away with you all while I hold him off. The girls nodded, knowing they would only get in the way of their hero. Looking up, Naruto cursed at how dark it was starting to get. Enough delaying, the man yelled. It's time for you to go down by Daisuke Ichimura. He charged forward, ready to rush Naruto. Naruto quickly slammed his green glowing on the ground and yelled out grass knot. A second later Daisuke tripped, leaving a decent indent in the ground. Shadow clone jutsu. And in a poof, a clone of Naruto appeared. The clone yelled out let's go as he quickly herded the girls and told them to follow him. When they were out of sight, he turned his attention back to Daisuke who got up and glared at Naruto. Cheap trick, kid. Now I'm going to cut you up. Daisuke charged forward while taking out both of his axes. He appeared in front of Naruto and swung his axe downward. Naruto, surprised by the huge man's burst of speed, jumped back to dodge the swing, which was a good thing since the axe cracked the ground. Vine whip, Naruto yelled out as the vines rushed towards Daisuke. The blonde was hoping to take the axe away from Daisuke, making it easier to take him down. Acting quickly, Daisuke let go of his axe and reached out, grabbing hold of the rushing vines. The surprised Naruto had no time to react as he was pulled towards Daisuke, who was in the process of swinging his other axe in an attempt to cleave Naruto in half. Oh crap! Naruto's eyes widened before his cheeks bulged. I'm not going to die here. Smoke screen. Breathing out, a thick screen of black smoke covered not only Naruto, but Daisuke as well. The smoke caused the grown man to cough and hesitate in his movements, giving Naruto time to recover and respond. A loud cut was heard through the smoke, followed by a sudden rush of pain to erupt from Daisuke's shoulder, along with a gush of blood. Naruto jumped out of the smoke with his right hand flattened, glowing a bright and white color with a few drops of blood on his face. Not letting up his attacks, Naruto's hands glowed green once more before he was surrounded by tree leaves. Now try this. Razor leaf. The leaves hardened until they were as hard and sharp as blades and rushed into the smoke. Not a sound was heard, not even a grunt or snort was heard. Naruto was about to turn on his aura sight before his eyes widened at what he heard next. Fire style, dragon's breath, and a stream of fire shot from the thick smoke, not only dispersing the smoke, but also revealing Daisuke shooting the flames from his mouth and rushing towards Naruto. Water gun! Naruto shouted before his aura turned ocean blue before releasing a jet of water from his perked lips. The water surged towards the incoming spray of flames. The two attacks made contact, only for a small amount of steam to be released into the cold night. The steam did not last long though as it quickly evaporated, so Naruto was only blinded for a few moments. But that was all the time that was needed. As soon as the steam vanished, An axe was sent sailing towards Naruto, who moved to the right to evade the huge weapon. Using Naruto's distraction, a slightly bleeding Daisuke appeared beside Naruto and buried his huge fist into Naruto's gut, causing him to spit, before grabbing the young boy's shirt and slamming him into the ground. Daisuke raised his foot to stomp the young Aura Guardian into the ground, but missed as Naruto quickly rolled away and jumped back to his feet. The two stared at each other, glaring into the other's eyes. Naruto was in deep thought over recent information. This is just great. This guy knows ninjutsu, which means he is most likely a missing nin, or a ronin. Dragon's Breath is a C-rank fire justice, so it's safe to assume he is at least a chunin. He also has really tough skin. There's barely a scratch on him after all that. I'm sorry for failing this test, Arceus-sama, but I'm going to need help if I'm going to survive this fight. Daisuke's glaring eyes turned to surprise as Naruto began a set of hand signs that he quickly recognized as the signs for a summoning. Decided not to chance it, he charged forward to stop whatever Naruto was going to call upon. Finishing the last sign, Naruto yelled out summoning before he suddenly vanished in a flash of yellow. Daisuke stopped in his tracks as he stared silently at the spot that Naruto was standing moments ago, confused by Naruto's vanishing act. Where did he go? He was just there a moment ago, and how did he do that? Was that the Hiraishin? If it was, then how did he know the fourth Hokage's signature jutsu? He smirked a deathly smile. This kid was far more interesting than he first thought. Naruto, current time. I'm going to have to keep my eyes out for that man. No man should be able to take so many hits and get up without barely a bruise, especially from those attacks. Looking intently at his parents, he couldn't help but wonder what they want. Kushina, being the first to snap from her shock at his injuries, quickly knelt by her bleeding son with worry filling her very being. Naruto-chan, what happened to you? She saw the cuts and bruises and knew those weren't play injuries. Those were injuries caused by a person. Someone had dared to harm her baby boy. She was already thinking of many different ways to torture whoever it was that harmed her. Naruto-chan, whether it be male or female, civilian or ninja. Naruto just looked at Kushina before turning his head towards Minato, even more confused by his mother's actions. Was this an imposter? But that thought flew out the window since only his father can use the Hiraishin. He was taken from his thoughts when he heard his father's voice. Naruto, talk to us. We are your parents, and we want to help you. Tell us what happened to you. Minato began, but slowly his worried tone turned to shock as Naruto seemed to glare at him harder with each word he said. Naruto was pissed. No, he was furious. How dare they? How dare they? Now they want to start acting like parents to him, after all this time. Right after a fight for his life, after he has had his first kills. Naruto, in his blind rage, began to call upon the power of the Kyuubi soul, not that he knew. His eyes turned a deep crimson with black slits in each eye. His spiky hair grew spikier and more wild as they jetted in different directions. The bangs that usually framed his face moved to the side and showed his darkened whiskers in full view. His teeth turned to fangs as they sharpened and grew slightly in length. Even his nails grew and sharpened, looking like they could draw blood easily from any victim in their way. Naruto responded to his father, in a very dark tone. You listen here, I don't need to tell you anything. You can't just leave me behind and all of a sudden decide that you want me back. It doesn't work like that, Minato-san. I have lived my life without your encouragement, or your guidance for this long, so why would I want it now? You want to help me, then you can help me, by leaving me alone. That shouldn't be too hard for you to do, since you have done it most of my life already. Naruto finished off, as he slowly lost his feral appearance, and ran past his shocked parents. He was just about to pass his sisters, but was stopped by Mito, who jumped onto him while crying out. Ni-san, please listen. Please, we are sorry. But her pleas fell on unwilling ears as Naruto pried his sister's arms from around his waist. Ni-san. Naruto glared at his sisters, causing both girls to flinch at his gaze, even though his glare wasn't nearly as intense as it was towards their parents. Honestly, Naruto had no idea how he should feel towards his sisters anymore. They didn't ignore him nearly as much as his parents did, and were there for him occasionally. But at the same time they didn't go out of their way to end his loneliness either. Also he, even if it's childish, couldn't help but blame them for the neglect as well, even if only slightly. Mito, I would appreciate it if you don't touch me again. The same goes for you too, Nami. I don't hate you too since you actually tried to show me some love, but know that feeling can change really quick. It would be best for you to not push me right now. To emphasize his point, Naruto released a small amount of his aura, using his anger, that left the sobbing Mito and Nami in shock and slight fear. Aura has another thing that makes it more unique than most other energies. The feeling it gives off to others can change depending on the user's mood and even amplify that feeling. Anger can give the aura a very grave and deadly feeling, joy can make it feel warm, etc. The twins have never felt such anger from anything in their life before, granted they barely ever feel anger from others. They felt like ants drowning in a very dark sea. Minato and Kushina were both shocked and awed by their wayward son. They never felt such a power from anyone, not even the Kyuubi. It wasn't that the power was stronger or more vast or even as dense as it either, no, it was the feeling of it that surprised them. They knew instantly that the energy wasn't chakra due to it not giving off the same life senior, even though it was eerily similar to it. It wasn't Yukai, so they knew it wasn't Kyuubi either. They could not figure out what it was. But Naru and I, we love you, Nami said, finding the courage to speak. We don't want, though. Whatever she was going to say died in her throat as Naruto just turned and began to walk away, ignoring her words. Naruto, please son. Minato called out to his child. Just listen to us, we are a family. We made a mistake, but he did not get to finish as Naruto interrupted him. Shut it! He yelled as his aura flexed outward with enough force to make the others take a step back. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your stupid reasons. In the end, I was left alone by you. You made a mistake, and so did I. My mistake was thinking you loved me like parents should, so no more. I grew away from you and I don't need you. I have my friends, and to me, they are my family. Not you! Now leave me alone! After one final shout, Naruto ran off, leaving his distraught family to wallow in their self-pity and sorrow. The leftover Namikes looked to each other as they cried at Naruto's words. Their son/brother wanted nothing to do with them, his own family. They knew Naruto would most likely be angry, but to practically hate them was something they could never have prepared their hearts for. Mito, Nami, and Kushina felt like someone plunged their bare hands into their chest and crushed their hearts. They cried to such an extent that sound refused to leave their throats, as the tears stained the floor. Minato kneeled down to the important woman in his life, unsure of what to say. He couldn't think of anything to say to rid them of their sorrow. His mind drifted to his son and the anger he displayed to them. Where did things go so wrong? Back with Naruto. Naruto just entered his room, slamming the door behind him as he looked around. He soaked in the plain and bland room since he barely spent any of his time in it. He took a deep breath and held it for a few seconds before releasing it in a heavy sigh. When he finally calmed down, Naruto decided it would be best if he did not dwell on his family right now. Naruto made his way to the window in his room and opened it, feeling a chill run down his spine due to the cool breeze of the night air. Warming his body by coating it in his aura, Naruto jumped out the window. He landed softly on the ground and took off towards his training ground as fast as he could. As he neared the training ground, his shadow clone popped, and he gained its memories, causing a warm smile to stretch across his face. The clone succeeded getting the girls to their village safely and back into the arms of their worried families. The clone popped before they could turn and thank him for his help. The scene had actually caused him to tear a little, happy to be able to bring people back together. He was able to save those girls from a horrible fate. He made them feel safe. Though his mood dropped at the memory of his fight against Daisuke and how the man could have easily killed him. He felt like he failed Arceus since his mission was to kill all the bandits, yet one not only survived, but actually could have beaten him, Naruto. Arriving at the lake in his training ground, Naruto stared at the lake and its enchanting beauty. The light from the moon reflected off the water's smooth surface, making it look like the lake was actually glowing with mysterious power. Looking into the water, Naruto stared at his reflection for a few moments, taking in the injuries he sustained, and took a deep breath. Might as well get this over with, Naruto said mentally. Putting his right hand on the surface of the calm lake, he flowed his aura to call upon Giratina. Instantly, the portal to the reverse world opened and sucked all into its endless void. Nodding, Naruto leaped into the portal once more. As quickly as the portal came, it vanished. Instead of falling like before, Naruto walked out of a glass window from one of the nearby buildings. The portal behind Naruto quickly closed shut. Looking around, the usual fog of the reverse world was not present at the moment. Feeling the ground rumble, Naruto looked forward and saw the cause was a whole crowd of different Pokemon rushing towards him. Flying high above the rest were Giratina and Arceus. Naruto smiled at the forms of all the summons he knew personally, his best friends and family. After a few more seconds, everyone was in front of him as the deities continued to float overhead. Welcome back, Naruto-kun, Arceus said with a warm smile on her face. It's good to be back, Arceus, Naruto responded with of his own, before it was replaced with a frown. Enough pleasantries, Arceus, Giratina interrupted. Looking down to Naruto, who shrunk slightly under his gaze, spoke out his thoughts. How did the mission go, Naruto? Naruto swallowed the lump that collected in his throat and stood tall, though the nervousness he felt was clear for all to see. The mission to eliminate all the bandits in the camp had changed to a rescue mission. Giratina and Arceus looked to each other, as if having a silent conversation with each other at the sudden news. They turned their heads back to Naruto and nodded for him to continue. Naruto followed their silent request and resumed the briefing. He told them of the rescue of the girls, and his killing of the thugs. When the Pokemon heard of his reaction to killing the thugs, they felt sadness and pride in him. Sadness that he had to not only go through his first kill alone, but had to go on to kill even more at the same time. They felt pride in for him though, as he not only pushed through it on his own, but did it to save others in the process. Naruto also told them details of his fight against the bandit leader, Daisuke. How he outclassed Naruto completely, and even took his attacks head-on. How in the end, Naruto could not face the bandit on his own like he was ordered to. Arceus schooled her face into a calm, cold look once the briefing was finished. Arceus looked to Giratina from the corner of her left eye and spoke out in a commanding tone. Giratina, would you and the others be so kind as to leave so I may speak to Naruto-kun, alone? Giratina nodded to his sister's request and flew off, while all the gathered Pokemon left, but not before sending Naruto a worried glance. Riolu, Zora, and Eevee were upset that they didn't even get to greet their favorite blonde. Naruto could feel nothing but shame as everyone left. His first mission ever, and he fails to follow parameters of the mission, even going so far as to lose to the last guy. He was so caught up in his self-loathing, he refused to look Arceus in the eye, opting to looking at the ground. After all my training and all the effort everyone put into helping me, I still lose. I still failed. Naruto clenched his fists tightly to avoid the tears that were threatening to spill from his eyes. Arceus looked down at the young Pokemon summoner with sympathy in her eyes. Suddenly her green eyes glowed a purple color, completely covering the green, and now pupilless eyes. An aura of blue-purple energy outlined Naruto's body, getting him to look up in surprise. Naruto was slowly lifted off the ground by the strange energy, and was floating in the air. Moving at a quicker pace, Naruto was gently set on top of Arceus's head as the purple color vanished from both Arceus's eyes and Naruto's body. That was the technique known as psychic. Naruto exclaimed mentally. It's a psychic-type attack that allows telepathic control of its targets, whether they are people, objects, or even another attack. It has other uses such as binding targets, moving heavy obstacles and more. I have only seen it used 4 times. Without a word, Arceus took off into the sky, with Naruto holding on so not to fall off. Arceus flew high into the sky, and when she finally stopped, they were high enough to see everyone and everything for miles. Look down, Naruto, Arceus commanded in a soft tone. Naruto did as she asked and sucked in a breath at all he could see. The reverse world, while bizarre, really had its own beauty to it. From the many waterfalls to the tall buildings that mixed perfectly with all the forests. The giant floating plateaus that moved mysteriously through the air, even some areas defying gravity. Plus with all the Pokemon of various species living their lives peacefully, simply intensified the beauty he saw before him. Tell me, Naruto, Arceus began, gaining the young man's attention. When you look at everything from this view, what do you see? Confused by the question, Naruto looked once more before answering her question. I see the Pokemon, and the amazing world that you and Giratina have made. Arceus chuckled at Naruto's answer. Well, do you want to know what I see, Naruto-kun? She asked with a warm tone once more. Naruto nodded his head curiously. I see my beautiful and powerful children at work to make their lives happy. Each day they work hard, no matter what happens. I see endless potential for them all to be the very best, but they all still need guidance to break that barrier of strength that even the older ones have hit. They need someone whose potential can match theirs, something they would not find if they stayed in their original dimension. They need a way to reach their well of true strength, and that's where you come in, Naruto. Me? Naruto asked incredulously. How could be anything special? He not only lost easily in his last fight, but was outclassed. As if sensing his thoughts, Arceus continued. Yes, you, Naruto. To have potential doesn't mean you have to win every fight you are in. Even the most powerful of Pokemon have all started small. With this loss, you will reach your potential faster than ever, and the Pokemon alongside you. Just like how all Pokemon are family, as our chosen summoner, you too are part of that family. Naruto was wide-eyed at the god Pokemon's words. A family, a true family. He already thought of the other Pokemon as his family, but to hear it just made him happier than he's ever been before. He knew the Pokemon will always be there for him, they will love him unconditionally, and would never forget about him. Naruto could no longer hold back the tears that flowed down his face. So Naruto, will you stay as our summoner, as our partner and most importantly, our family? Will you grow with us? Arceus asked calmly at first but rose in both power and authority with each word. Yes, Lady Arceus. I will become the best ninja and the most powerful Aura Guardian there ever was. I will surpass the likes of even Sir Orin, just watch me. I will make you all proud. I swear it on my ninja way, and I never go back on my word. I know you will, Naruto-kun, Arceus thought as she stared at her chosen summoner, delighted by Naruto's determination. Well, Naruto-kun, if you want to be the best, then you will have to train really hard, especially to catch up to Sir Orin. You are on the right track though, especially with how you saved those young girls. Get yourself ready, Naruto, because for the next 2 weeks you will train with the strongest Pokemon we can offer before being taken in by the legendaries. Naruto could feel his excitement rise at the thought of more training, even if it meant he will be going through torture. To be trained by Pokemon that even the god of Pokemon called strong meant they had to have impressed Arceus at one point. A thought entered Naruto's mind that both angered and worried him. What are we going to do about my parents? They are starting to notice me again, so they will no doubt notice me gone for 2 weeks. Simple, Naruto, Arceus responded, already knowing he would ask that. We will send a Zoroark in your place. The one I have in mind can also use telepathy to speak if need be. We just need him to last 2 weeks, which I know he can manage easily enough. So when do we begin? Naruto asked, just barely holding back the excitement in his voice. Arceus smirked while releasing a small amount of her power, which not only dwarfed Naruto's at his maximum output but caused sweat to pour down his face. We start now. The two vanished in a flash of light, indicating that teleport was used as Naruto had one final thought. What did I get myself into? As his determination wavered slightly. A full week has went by in the reverse world and Naruto has improved by leaps and bounds. The young blonde was made to train harder than he ever has before, each day that passed during that week with only an hour break after 5 painful hours of sweat. Like Arceus had told him, Naruto was trained by many of the best that the reverse world had to offer him. He trained casting illusions through aura, since his genjutsu was extremely difficult due to his Uzumaki blood, with the Zoroark clan. Due to his high chakra amount from his Uzumaki genes, he couldn't cast even the lowest level of genjutsu, but he could easily break out of even a rank illusions like they were nothing. Thankfully Zoroark had a way around that, by training him in the use of aura through his aura. They trained him in their art, and easily showed why they called the Masters of Illusions. After his training was pushed hard at him, he was able to cast their illusions without twitching. In fact, the only one who cast illusions the way he could would be those that possessed the Sharingan from the Uchiha clan. Now Naruto was no master unlike the ones that trained him. His small illusions, like changing appearances or even making false objects, were made easily and hard to notice. Bigger illusions, like changing the area, were much easier to notice by shinobis. He trained his physical strength with the help of the Macamp, Hitmonlee, and Hitmonchan clans. They taught him many different ways of fighting, from pure power fighting, kickboxing, and high-speed boxing. His speed was trained by the Pidgeots, Rapidash, and even Ninjasks. They taught him how to move at high speeds and see movement at high speeds. He can currently see up to mid-Chunin speed without difficulty. His training in stealth was done by, much to his chagrin at first, Jengars and many other ghost-type Pokemon along with Shiftries, Sceptiles, Hippowdons, and Kecleons. He trained among the Lucarios so he could gain better control over the aura both within and outside his body. He even entered and trained within his mindscape through meditation and gained more focused control over his aura, though his training was done as far from the Kyuubi's cage as possible due to him being too weak to be in the mighty Bijuu's presence. His aura sense now has a range of 50 yards while standing still, but only 15 yards while on the move, still much better than it was before. His aura sight can now distinguish between people and animals, even while he is on the move. It was no longer just a blob of aura that he sees each time he used it. He also trained his aura-based attacks among with his aura manipulation. His aura sphere, which had trouble beating out low C rank jutsus, can now not only crush low rank jutsus but can even hold own against mid B rank jutsus. He can also extend his aura into either a staff, which he can harden it to be as hard as steel, or a sword and can sharpen it to his needs. He can also now separate his aura into 2 different states, aggressive and peaceful. His aggressive state is not only his most destructive, but also his most dark state. He constantly unleashes a very unnerving feeling in this state, not unlike when a ninja uses KI, killing intent. This state easily strikes fear into his opponents, and leaves them frozen stiff in fear, allowing him to crush them easily. This state of being also augments his offensive attacks and makes them more powerful, especially the aura-based moves. His peaceful state is the exact opposite, its calming and soothing sensation that gives his targets a state of warmth and security. While his aggressive state was used to strike fear, his peaceful state allowed him to calm angered people and help them think with a cleared-up mind. This state utilizes his want and need to help those around him. This state of being augments his defensive and healing capability on not only himself but others he heals as well. That's not to say he neglected his ninja training in the least. The Zoroark that was acting as him would bring scrolls of techniques, taijutsu styles, and jutsus. His training in chakra control was increased thanks to the scrolls, where he had to balance rocks and leaves on his body while walking across the water, an advanced water walking exercise. He learned and mastered many E-rank to C-rank jutsus. He also finally managed to master his first A-rank jutsu, the fire style, intelligent hard work. Though most of his progress came in the form of his Fuin jutsu and Kenjutsu training. An explosion went off that shook the surrounding ground slightly. From the rising smoke, Naruto walked out coughing and blowing the smoke away from his face. He wore an entirely new attire that Zoroark got for him, thinking it would suit him. Naruto now wore a pure black muscle shirt that easily showed his forming abs, along with gray shinobi pants and dark blue sandals with blood-red straps. On his hands were his new Aura Guardian gloves that held smooth dark blue gems stitched into the back. The gloves were a dark brown color and were thin and fingerless. He also wore a short red scarf around his neck. "TCH, I still need to work the power overflow problem," Naruto said to himself as dusted of his clothing. Sitting on the sidelines were Ryalu, Zora, and Eevee. "You will get it soon, partner, just give it time," Ryalu stated with a small smile, believing in his friend. Ryalu and Eevee nodded their heads in agreement. Eevee has officially become a part of Naruto's team the other day. Eevee got really hurt while practicing one of its attacks due to it getting caught in the backlash. Naruto found Eevee hurt during one of his runs and took care of her, which in turn made Eevee adore Naruto more and asked to be part of his main 6 summons, to which Naruto agreed to. Naruto smiled at his 3 Pokemon, grateful for their encouragement and belief in his abilities. Before he could reply, a bright light shined behind him while releasing a high power output. Naruto's smile widened at who it was. "Hello Arceus, how might I help you today?" Naruto asked without turning around. "Hello Naruto-kun," Arceus responded in a joyful tone. Arceus and the other Pokemon have enjoyed having the young man around and saw his determination to get stronger to be very inspirational. Arceus too has enjoyed having Naruto around, but sadly all good things must come to an end at some point. I have come to tell you that it is time to return back to Konoha. The happy look that was present on Naruto's face did a complete 180 as a cold and indifferent took its place. Nodding his head, Naruto smirked as he felt that he was ready to dominate, even if he didn't want to deal with the Namikes. "Your 3 partners will join you as I teleport all of you to Zoroark's current location, which is near the academy," Arceus said as her eyes turned a white color. "Good luck and show them all the strength that they forgot to nurture, teleport." In a flash of white light, Naruto, Eevee, Ryalu, and Zorua vanished. The academy. The group reappeared in another flash of light, all of them trying to keep their balance since they were not used to teleporting yet. Shaking the cobwebs from their heads, they took notice of their surroundings, which ended up being a bathroom. Looking ahead, they took notice of another Naruto staring directly at them as he smirked at all of them. "It took you all long enough to finally arrive," the other Naruto said as his playful grin widened. "Sorry for the delay, Zoroark," Naruto responded to the now revealed Zoroark. In a quick spin of purple light, the Naruto was gone, and its place was a completely different creature. Zoroark is a bipedal, gray-brown, fox-like Pokemon with crimson and black accents, not unlike Zorua's. Zoroark also possessed a pointed snout and ears that were red on the inside. There was also red rimming both of its eyes and mouth. It had a large, red, voluminous mane with black tips, which resembles a ponytail, as a teal bangle down its length separates a mass of the mane from the lower portion. It has a black ruff on its upper body that also had pointed shoulders where its long, thin arms protruded from. The arms have spiky extensions of fur at the elbows, and it has red claws on its hands and feet. Zoroark also had light blue irises for its eyes. "It's fine, Naruto," Zoroark responded. "We are at the academy, in case you were not aware. Also, your sisters have been trying to get closer to you, so don't be surprised if they approach you, especially with the change in wardrobe." The outfit that Zoroark had worn was a bright orange jumpsuit that he thought would be fun to wear. Zoroark simply loved attention. Naruto nodded his head at the dark type. He figured that his outburst to their sudden care for him would cause some changes to occur, if only to keep it quiet that a child of the Hokage had been ignored by his own family. The backlash would definitely cause some problems for them, not like he cared really. "Thanks for covering for me, Zoroark," Naruto said as he smiled at the illusion fox Pokemon. "I'll pay you back for it in due time, my friend." The fully evolved Pokemon nodded his head as he poofed away, back to the distortion world. Turning to his partners, a grin made its way on Naruto's face. "Alright, you three, let's show these guys what an aura ninja and his partners can do," Naruto exclaimed as he pumped his right fist in the air. Eevee jumped onto his left shoulder while Zoro took his right. Ryolo opted to nod silently as he wailed alongside his friend. The four exited the restroom, making their way to the shinobi class for the first years. Ignoring the strange looks given to them by passerbys, Pokemon weren't exactly a common species, so it was no surprise to them. Naruto stood in front of his classroom's door, feeling a powerful aura signature behind the door along with many smaller ones. Recognizing whose signature it was, Naruto sighed tiredly at having to see him so soon. Ryolu, knowing what was wrong, looked to his partner with an encouraging smile. Seeing the smile, Naruto smirked again at his friend's attempt to make him feel better. Taking a deep breath, Naruto opened the door to his classroom and made his way inside. He quickly gained the attention of everyone in the room, especially the girls who were practically drooling. His untamed spiky hair and one bang framing his left eye caused hearts to appear in the girls' eyes. The guys were seeing him as a threat to either their manliness or to the hearts of the girls in the classroom. Mito saw her brother and smiled brightly at him. She loved her dear older brother very much, even if he believed it to be otherwise. She has been trying to get close to him, but hasn't had much luck. He would either ignore her or avoid her altogether. She wasn't going to give up though, she was going to get her brother to love her. She's an Uzumaki woman and they are known to be very stubborn when they have a goal in mind. Nami looked at Naruto in happiness, but was more saddened than anything. Like Mito, she has been trying to get close to her brother, but has had no luck. He shows them little to no emotion, and makes sure to leave as soon as possible if they are even in the same room. They usually had to hunt him down to talk to him, and even that wasn't easy to do. She gave Naruto another sad yet loving gaze as he looked around the room. Oni-chan. Minato, who was giving a speech to the kids, looked towards his estranged son in shock. Like the rest of his family, he has been to reconcile with his oldest but would end up with the same results as the rest of the family. He would avoid them as best he could, vanish for points at a time, or ignore them completely. Minato tried to offer Naruto training, but would only get a glare of anger for his efforts. Looking at him, he was also surprised by his change of appearance. Where did all of the orange go? A few others looking at Naruto were Hinata Hyuga, Satsuki Uchiha, and Sasuke Uchiha. His best friends in the entire village. Hinata and Satsuki were in relief that he made it to class on time, albeit a bit late. They were hoping he was okay since he hasn't hung out with them or their family much this past week. Sasuke was glad that his brother in all but blood was in the academy since he was worried that he didn't sign up due to him not being in class. Iruka Yumino, the class instructor, decided to speak up. "You're late, young man, class has already started," he said in a slight stern tone. He knew that this was the Hokage's son, but he refused to show favoritism and would treat him like anybody else. He didn't see the boy as the cube either, just a boy wanting to learn how to defend the village like any other shinobi of Konoha. Naruto smirked at his instructor when he felt no malice in his stern tone, just him doing his job and treating him normally. Maybe this won't be so bad after all. "Sorry about that, sensei, I had to use the bathroom and collect my partners here." Ryolo waved to the class, Zoro chuckled and Eevee nodded politely before she tried to hide behind Naruto's head at all the stairs. Everyone took notice of the strange creatures, wondering what they were. The girls had to hold back their squeals at how cute the three Pokemon, especially the shy Eevee, looked. Iruka voiced his thoughts though. Naruto-san, what are they? I have never seen animals like them before." Deciding to hide his summoning contract for now, Naruto answered in half-truths. "I found them in the forest a few years ago, so I'm not sure how to answer that. They are my best friends and are all very strong in their own rights, so I decided to make them my ninja partners, like how the Inuzuka clan has their dogs." To help prove Naruto's point, Ryolo released a small, yet dense, pulse of aura that made everyone's eyes widen. They didn't expect such a small creature to release such a strange, but strong power. The more experienced ninja, Iruka and Minato, were able to see just how powerful Ryolo was from that small burst. "Can we begin class now?" a bored Naruto asked. If they were surprised by that small burst of power, then these next few years will probably make their hearts stop. Nodding his head, Iruka gestured towards the back. "Yes, your seat will be in the back, next to Miss Hinata Hyuga." Naruto looked up and a smile grew on his face, along with a small blush that spread on his cheeks. Hinata Hyuga was what he would call a cute girl. Her indigo blue hair was cut short, but left long enough that it slightly covered her pupilless eyes. She had a pale complexion, but not enough to where she looked unhealthy. She wore a beige jacket that was very baggy on her. When she saw Naruto, her face grew red from embarrassment before looking at her desk again. Naruto chuckled at his friend's shy nature as he made his way to his seat. When he sat down, he turned to the shy Hyuga and offered her a warm smile. "Hey Hinata, it's good to see again. I'm happy that we could get to be seat naners." He chuckled as she gave Naruto a shy smile. He gestured to his partners as he introduced them to his friend. "The short stack with the mask is Ryolu, the black ball of fluff on my shoulder is Zorua, and the cute ball of sunshine is Eevee." Ryolu waved to Hinata, but glared at Naruto for how he introduced him. Zorua nodded in her direction with a smirk, not bothered at all from his words, and Eevee jumped into the young Hyuga's lap. Hinata eeped slightly as the young Pokemon before looking into its big eyes and unconsciously began petting the young Pokemon. "Its fur is so soft," she thought in surprise. "It would seem that she likes you, Hinata," Naruto said as he smiled. "Eevee is a very shy Pokemon and is normally not so affectionate with new people. She only acts like that with people that she sees as good people. Eevee is a really good judge of character." Okay, quiet down," Iruka said to calm the class. The chatting began to slowly stop, causing the teacher to sweat drop at the kids actually listening to him. "This isn't going to happen very often, is it?" Minato walked forward and addressed the class. He told them how happy he was to see so many ninja hopefuls and how proud he was them for their first steps in protecting the great tree as it grows. He told them that it won't be easy, but with enough hard work and determination they could become one of the greats. As he finished his speech, he gave the class a once-over before his gaze stopped on his son. "Good luck everyone, and I look forward to seeing your futures," and with that he vanished in a yellow flash. The class, besides Naruto, who didn't care, the 3 Pokemon, who were not impressed, and Naruto's sister, who were too busy looking at Naruto, were in awe at the technique. Afterwards the class has begun and soon Naruto found himself to be very bored. He knew all this crap already. A bit of chakra theory, which he started learning when he was 4, what it means to be a ninja, and a lesson on how to unlock your chakra, which took forever in his opinion since many kids in the class had yet to learn how to do so. As the class was finally coming to an end, something interesting finally occurred. Another Chunin appeared in a swirl of leaves and whispers into Iruka's ear, causing said Chunin to nod his head as he addressed the class again. "Okay everyone, we will be inducting a special addition to our curriculum," he said. "Everyone's relatives will attend and watch at the new training ground set up for the academy students, where you all will spar against each other. This spar will be a test and will take place every 4 months. Unlike our normal spars, this spar will have no limit except no killing or maiming. It will be a way to see where you stand and show what you have learned. Now follow me and I will show you all to the training grounds." Everyone shuffled out of their seats as they made their way after their instructor. As they walked, it was easy to see that some of the students were either nervous, excited, or just plain didn't care. As soon as they arrived, the students were greeted by their awaiting family. Naruto watched closely as Hinata was greeted by her father, Hayashi Hyuga, and the head of the Hyuga clan. His eyes narrowed as he saw that Hayashi, while greeting Hinata, didn't even smile at her. Plus, with the hurt look on her face, it made Naruto angry at how Hayashi was acting. A father should not act that way with their child, damn clan image. Ryolu, Eevee, and Zorua sensed Naruto's disdain by and tapped either his cheeks or leg in an attempt to calm him down. Relaxing at his friend's touch, he vowed to help his friend as best he could. "Maybe I can get her a Pokemon partner." As the contract holder, Naruto can actually give others Pokemon partners, but he has to be careful of who gets one as that could cause them a lot of trouble. Feeling eyes on him, Naruto looked to his left and saw his mother looking at him along with his 2 sisters. Not feeling like dealing with them right now, Naruto walked the opposite direction and sat under a shaded tree. Kushina felt her heart break as her own son simply ignored her as if she wasn't worth his time. She knew she messed up. She shouldn't haven't forgotten about her baby boy like that. He was her son and she has always looked forward to raising her son along with Minato. But due to everything that was going on and at such a fast pace, she just forgot about him. She had no real excuse or reason to forget, she just did. She loved her son, she really did, and wanted to show him just how much, but Naruto was having none of that. Getting everyone's attention, Iruka announced that everyone's names will be drawn at random. This way, no one will have any clue about who they would be fighting and would force them to adapt in battle. "Okay, when I call your names I want you to make your way to the center of the field and make the sign of peace and await my signal to begin. Sahoshi Taka." Naruto tuned out his instructor as he crossed his legs and began meditating. He felt out everyone's aura, trying to scope out everyone's strengths. As he did so, he noticed that the clan heir's auras were more dense than the norm. Not enough that they would be able to use it, but enough to show it was an abnormality. It was probably due to their clan's special chakra that allows use for their Keikai Genkai mixing in slightly with their aura. What he also found curious was that the kids with dojutsus, Hinata, Satsuki, and Sasuke, had an even more dense aura than the others, though it was most prominent around their eyes. As he was thinking about this, he took notice of the aura that surrounded Hinata, Sasuke, and Nami and noticed how their auras seemed different. It was like they. Naruto! The sudden and unexpected shout caused him to flail his arms in shock and fall backwards and slam the back of his head onto the tree. Looking to the culprit, while rubbing the sore spot on his throbbing head, and narrowed his eyes at a laughing Ryolu. What was that for Ryolu? I thought you fell asleep, Ryolu said in between laughs. Finally calming down, Ryolu looked to his partner. Besides, I called you about 6 times, but you wouldn't respond. Evie and Zorua nodded their heads to prove Ryolu had indeed tried to talk to him. Their argument was watched by everyone, who were confused on how Naruto was talking to the strange creature. All the blue one was saying was its name, Ryolu, over and over. Having enough of the bickering, and noticing the looks, Zorua smacked both the emanation Pokemon and Naruto. You guys should really stop arguing now, you are attracting attention. Plus, you guys are interrupting the young Hyuga girls' match. Looking up, the two saw that they were indeed interrupting both the class and the match. Scratching the back of his head in embarrassment, Naruto apologized. Sorry, don't mind us. Please continue, I promise we won't do it again. Iruka shook his head at their behavior before putting it to the back of his mind for now. Let the match of Hinata Hyuga versus Kira Inuzuka begin. Kira Inuzuka, the twin of Kiba Inuzuka, was the youngest of the 3 siblings. She had the same black spiky hair that her mother had, with a long bang that covered her left eye. Her Inuzuka mark consisted of 3 interlocking triangles. Her eyes were the same slit pupil, brown that her older brother, by a year, had. She wore a dark blue shirt with an open green jacket over it. She had tan shorts that went to her knees and dark green sandals on her feet. Kira and Hinata have been good friends for a few years and were even rivals, in Kira's opinion. Let's do this, Hinata! Kira yelled before she went into her clan's taijutsu stance. I will win this time. Hinata, while shy, was quite a skilled fighter when she actually tried. Kira was the only opponent that Hinata could go against and not worry about hurting them too much, a problem she gained from seeing just how much damage the gentle fist could do a person. Hinata followed suit and entered her clan's feared gentle fist taijutsu stance. She will do her best to win this match, especially with her father and Naruto watching, 2 people she really wants to impress. Kira took off with low genin speed towards Hinata, who quickly narrowed her eyes on her opponent, easily being able to see her still. As the fight continued on with the 2 fighters clashing back and forth, Naruto actually whistled lowly as he felt impressed so far. Kira was a really fast fighter, too fast for the average academy student. Her strikes, while wild, were very strong and ferocious. Hinata, while not being as fast as Kira, was very agile and quick on her reaction time. The way she moved and bent around Kira's attack that she could not block, it was like she was dancing a very intricate dance. Her strikes were nowhere near as strong as Kira's, which is unusual for Hyuga, but they were much more precise. It was a battle between true opposites. Hinata dodged another swipe by Kira, and quickly dropped low and kicked out with her leg. This caused Kira to trip slightly before she regained her balance, and lashed out with a kick that Hinata blocked. Using this slight delay, Kira pushed with her arms and jumped away from her Hyuga opponent, and quickly gained distance. The fighters stared at each other for a few seconds before they rushed at one another once more. Feeling bouncing on his lap, Naruto looked down and smiled as he watched Eevee cheer Hinata on. It would seem Eevee has taken a real shine to Hinata. He looked to his side and saw that Zorua was unusually very focused on the match. Putting his focus back to the match, he saw that Hinata has just kicked Kira away with mule kick after said Inuzuka tripped her. As Kira gained her bearings once more, the 2 fighters stared into the other's eyes, panting heavily. They were both on their final legs and knew that this will be their last strike. The first to get hit is the loser. With a loud cry, they charged at each other and thrust their arms forward. Slam! The sound of a fist hitting flesh echoed throughout the training field as the 2 fighters stood in front of each, both with their arms stretched outward. Slowly, one of the 2 slumped forward as she fell. Falling backwards, Kira Inuzuka passed out, signifying Hinata as the winner. Everyone cheered at the surprisingly intense fight. Hayashi couldn't help but smile slightly at seeing his supposed weak daughter win her first match at the academy. After that though, most of the other matches were pretty straightforward and most were one-sided until Nami went up against Satsuki. The fight was the most intense match yet, with either girl willing to lose. They both refused to lose in front of the one they wanted to notice their skills the most, Naruto. Alas, after about 15 minutes of fighting and both being covered in sweat, Satsuki passed out from exhaustion. While Satsuki easily matched Nami in terms of pure skill and technique, she lost due to Nami having much better stamina than her. Perks of not only being an Uzumaki, who are well known for having a lot of stamina among other things, and a Jinchuriki. Next up was Mito against a pink-haired girl named Sakura Haruno. It wasn't too surprising to see that Mito easily dominated the match and won in a short amount of time due to it being a girl that has trained since she was 3 and a girl that came from a civilian family. When Mito won, she looked towards her brother for any sign of his approval. Her efforts were surprisingly rewarded when Naruto gave her a small nod of acknowledgement, causing her to have a bright smile on her face. Rolling his eyes at her excitement, Naruto turned his attention back to his partners before he heard Irika call out. Next up is Naruto Uzumaki vs Sasuke Uchiha. This announcement gained the attention of the 3 Namikaze girls, Hinata, and Satsuki Uchiha, who was resting beside her mother. All of them were curious to see how well Naruto will do against an Uchiha, though the Namikazes were worried since as far as they knew, Naruto has had no training. As the neglected Uzumaki walked onto the stage, he told his partners to observe the match. Sasuke and Naruto were staring at one another as they made the sign of peace. Naruto smirked at his friend who gave him a challenging grin in return. Feeling the strong aura around Sasuke, Naruto was getting excited about the match. Begin! Sasuke jumped back instantly so to gain some distance from Naruto, who stood there and kept his gaze on Sasuke. The Uchiha took out 3 shurikens before throwing them at his blonde/red opponent with pinpoint accuracy. Taking out a kunai, Sasuke rushed at Naruto. Said fighter focused his eyes on the incoming shurikens before he dodged the first one that reached him. As the other 2 crossed by him, he reached out and stuck his fingers in the holes of the weapons. Making sure they kept spinning, he tossed them back at their sender with high speed that they looked like a blur to many. Sasuke's eyes widened at the incoming shurikens, rolling out of the way as he glared at his opponent slightly. He continued his rush at Naruto, kunai ready to begin slashing at his flesh. Waiting for him, Naruto flexed his fingers as he prepared to counter. Reaching out, Naruto dodged an upward slash before lashing out with his knee and hit the bottom of Sasuke's kunai, knocking it out of his grip. This move caused Sasuke to hesitate and allowed Naruto enough time to grab the kunai from the air and thrust the sharp weapon at Sasuke. Thanks to his reflexes, Sasuke pulled out another kunai and blocked Naruto's attack. The 2 fighters were stuck in a power struggle as they grunted and glared at their opponent. He's actually really good, Naruto thought. So let's take this up a notch then. Naruto quickly moved to the side. The sudden action caused Sasuke to stumble forward. Channeling some aura to palm, Naruto slammed it into his chest, which sent the Uchiha flying backwards. Naruto rushed towards Uchiha, ready to end the match as fast he could. Sasuke, who just got his second wind, got up and started making hand signs. This will definitely tire me out since I haven't fully mastered it, but at least I will still win this, he thought to himself as he made the final hand sign and began molding the chakra in his mouth. Fire style, fire ball jutsu. With a mighty lung forward, he released a ball of fire that was about as big as Naruto, not too big considering Naruto was not that tall. The spectators were wide-eyed at the use of the fire jutsu, but none more than the Namikaze girls. Kushina was about to jump in to stop the attack from reaching her son, knowing that he didn't have a technique to protect himself from the ball of fire, since he had no training. Naruto was slightly surprised by the rushing fireball, but he really should have expected this from an Uchiha. This jutsu is rite of passage for the clan. Summoning up his aura once more, Naruto stopped running and put both of his hands forward and open-palmed. His glowed slightly as his gathered aura began to form water. Water gun! He yelled out. The water that formed shot out like a jet and completely blocked the ball of fire. A small cloud of steam quickly formed as the water gun slowly pushed the Uchiha's jutsu back, before it obliterated it and rushed towards Sasuke. Sasuke's eyes widened at the rushing water, not expecting Naruto to know a water jutsu, especially one that beat out his fire one. Too surprised, he didn't react in time as the jet of water slammed into and pushed him into a nearby tree. He slammed into it with another force that the tree shook violently. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief, realizing how much aura that the attack took from him. One of the most basic water attacks should not have taken that much aura from me. I still need to work on the water attacks if it does that, he thought as he kept his eyes on Sasuke. So focused on Sasuke he missed the call from Irika Yumino. The winner of the match, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. As soon as Naruto was announced the winner, Eevee ran up to Naruto and happily jumped into his arms. Naruto chuckled at his youngest partner and began petting her head, causing Eevee to purr happily. Naruto sat next to Ryoru and Zora, who were smiling for Naruto's win. Good job, Naruto, Ryoru complimented his friend. You were brilliant and took control of that fight with ease. I'm happy at your victory. That was more than winning. It was a total ass kicking, Zoro chimed in. He couldn't even touch you, never mind challenge you. He thought he had you with that fireball, but then you come around and BM. You let him have it. Naruto chuckled at Zoro's excited words, even if they were crude. He also thanked Ryolu for his kind words. I just hope I won't regret doing that attack, I kind of did it on total impulse alone. Unknown to him, that he was in for a hell of a ride from his actions. Seeing as the injured were being cared for, and he had nothing else for them, Iruka decided to end the class for the day. After he made the announcement to be back tomorrow, the kids went to their parents. The clan heirs gathered together and made their way to their group parents. The only one not with them was Naruto, who was staring at a slightly limping Sasuke, feeling slightly guilty at hurting his friend. He felt no ill intent from the young Uchiha during his attack, only a drive to win the match, something he could definitely understand. Hey Sasuke, wait up! He called out, getting the young Uchiha's attention along with the other clan children and their parents. Kushina and her daughters paid extra attention, wondering what he was up to. I'm sorry for the attack. I didn't mean to put so much power behind that attack. I hope you're okay. Sasuke smiled slightly at his concern, happy, though he wouldn't admit it willingly, at his friend's worry. Yeah, I'm fine, he replied. My ego is a bit bruised, but I'll be fine otherwise. Don't think I will take this defeat lightly though. I'll be stronger next time and I will win. Naruto nodded as he smirked at his friend's determination. Seeing that his friend was standing oddly, from the pain, Naruto channeled his aura into the palm of his hand, causing a golden glow to light up. He stretched his hand towards Sasuke and whispered, recover. Sasuke's body glowed slightly as he felt the pain quickly vanish as any bruises left on his body closed up and disappeared. He stood up straight and was surprised that he was healed up completely. Everyone's eyes widened at Naruto's actions. He was skilled in taijutsu, had a talent for ninjutsu, due to him using not only elemental jutsus without hand signs, but now he showed he had knowledge and the skill to use Iryo-jutsu. Just how skilled is this kid? Was the collective thoughts of the clan heads. Ignoring the surprised looks everyone was giving him, Naruto cancelled his technique and was panting slightly before regaining his bearing. Recover is an easy technique to use, the only downside being the stamina requirement is large and can leave him out of breath for a second. Thanks to Naruto's genes as an Uzumaki though, that problem is quickly taken care of. Naruto smirked at Sasuke and replied, we will see, Sasuke. I'll be looking forward to it. Sasuke smirked as Naruto walked back to his Pokemon. You never change, Naruto, he thought to himself. Though you're a lot stronger than I thought you would be. What was that water jutsu you used? Satsuki saw the interaction between Naruto and her brother and couldn't help but to smile warmly. Naruto is still a sweetheart, even with everything that happened. Satsuki had been worried, along with Hinata, about how distant Naruto had been lately, barely ever visiting or even talking to them. It's not like he ignored them, but he didn't actively approach them like he used to either. She would be lying if she said it didn't hurt her heart. Kushina opened her mouth to call out to her son, to talk to her baby boy, but was ignored as Naruto ran out the field with those strange creatures. Being ignored by her own child, for reasons she knew was her fault, tore at her heart apart. Her daughters held her hands and smiled sadly at her. Don't worry, Mom, Nami said, rubbing her thumb over Kushina's knuckle. We will get Oniai-chan back into the family, Mito finished in an attempt to comfort her dear mother. Back with Naruto in the village. Naruto was walking down the streets, deciding to take a simple stroll since it had been weeks since he was here. To him who has been there all his life, it was a long time. As he walked, he took note the different expressions that the villagers looked at him with. Some looked Naruto with the usual amount of hatred or disgust, some looked at him strangely due to the change of his attire, and the Pokemon by his side, and a few others in actual respect. Naruto ignored all of them though, opting to continue to a random training ground. Naruto felt that the academy was far from enough, not that he could complain from all the training he did. Eevee was on top of his head, enjoying the softness of his hair. Ryolu was looking forward to a good, hard spar. Zoro was just looking forward to taking another nap under a shady tree. As they entered the training ground, Naruto was enjoying the feel of nature. As Naruto stood there, Eevee's ears twitched and her nose scrunched up. Her head snapped at a tree they were next to before her eyes widened. Everyone move now! She yelled as she ran from the tree. Hearing her yell, the other three jumped away as the tree exploded into sawdust and wood chips. Oh my God! Came the shout of a girl. Are you okay? The figure that spoke out was a young girl with short black hair that was up in twin buns. She had dark brown eyes that held concern for them. She wore a pink Chinese blouse with red sleeve trimmings and yellow fastening buttons on the front. She also wore a tight, form-fitting pair of dark green tights. A pouch was resting on her thigh. She also had generous curves that Naruto's eyes were stuck onto for a moment before looking away quickly. Behind her were two other boys. The first one, who was slightly shorter of the two, had semi-long hair that spiked and curved upward on the front. He wore a white short-sleeved kimono shirt with a black martial arts belt with dark pants. He also looked to be wearing orange leg warmers on both legs and white bandages wrapped around his hands and arms. The other guy was someone Naruto actually recognized slightly. He wore a khaki shirt with a barely visible dull blue shirt. He had dark brown shorts, with blue shinobi sandals. Like the other kid, he wore white bandages around his right arm and right leg. His long black hair was tied back into a loose ponytail. A white bandage was also worn around his forehead as well. He had pale, pupilless eyes, indicating that he was a member of the Hyuga clan. Naruto smiled at the girl while scratching the back of his head. "Yeah, I'm fine. Eevee warned us just in time, so we are unharmed." As he spoke, the three Pokemon joined his side, except Eevee, who jumped onto his left shoulder. Seeing the small brown Pokemon, Tenten had to hold back the urge to squeal at the adorable Pokemon. "Kawaii," she yelled out mentally. "I'm glad. I was training with my friends over here. Oh, by the way, my name is Tenten," she said before she gestured to the two boys behind her. "And these two are Rock Lee and Niji Hyuga. I've met him before since I know his cousin Hinata." "It's nice to meet you and Lee, Tenten," Naruto said. "My name's Naruto, and these are my partners. The one in the mask is Riolu, the chuckling one is Zorua, and the fluff ball on my shoulder is Eevee." Before Tenten could respond, Lee appeared in front of Naruto, shaking his hand in a fast motion. "Yash! It's nice to meet you, Naruto-kun. What kind of training have you done youthfully?" Niji and Tenten groaned in embarrassment, while Naruto chuckled at the slightly older kid's enthusiasm. "Well, after being done with the academy a few minutes ago, I decided I needed to train since we didn't do much. Hard work at training is what I was looking forward to, you know, before almost blowing up from a stray weapon." He chuckled and missed the sparkle in Lee's eyes as he spoke. "Yash, you shine brightly with the mighty flame of youth," Lee declared proudly. "Will you do me the honor of joining me in a spar?" Naruto shrugged his shoulders. "Sure, why not? Sounds like it could be fun and I could use the help. Plus it will be interesting to see where I stack against someone more experienced, but still near my level." Smirking, Naruto a small amount his power. "Are you ready, Lee-san?" "Yash, let our flame of youth clash in a most glorious match. Tenten-chan, can you referee the match, please?" Lee asked his teammate, who sighed and nodded her head. Niji shook his head as he watched Lee. "This won't even be much of a match. Naruto is still an academy student, just like Lady Hinata, while Lee is a more experienced student and trained by Gai-sensei. This is just a simple waste of time," Niji thought with a sigh, seeing no way Naruto to be able to match Lee. He has no hard feelings toward Naruto, especially after how he saved Hinata and inadvertently his father, but he just couldn't fight the facts. Tenten and Niji decided to stand under a tree as they watched the spar, though they weren't too interested since it was obvious to them who would win. Riolu sat on a tree branch above Tenten, Zorua decided to take a nap in the shade of the tree, and Eevee stood in between the two genin with excitement in her eyes. Looking between the two fighters, Tenten raised her arms before waving it in a slashing motion. "Begin!" "Here I come, Naruto-kun," Lee whispered as he rushed at Naruto in a blur, surprising the blonde guardian. "Holy Arceus, he's fast!" Naruto yelled mentally as he barely dodged a kick to his head. "Quick attack," he whispered as he blurred away from Lee, not taking his eyes off the green-clad genin. Lee's eyes sparkled at the sudden speed Naruto showed, excited at the thought of a high-speed fight. "Woohoo!" he yelled as he vanished in pure speed. Seeing that he could barely follow Lee with his eyes, Naruto decided to use his aura sense to keep track of him. Naruto dodged to the left as he moved out of Lee's punch. Naruto was being pushed back as he continued to block and dodge Lee's kicks and punches. Naruto ducked under a kick from Lee, but was unprepared for his other foot to swing upwards. The attack hit the blonde in the chin and sent him upwards, followed by Lee, who jumped after him. Lee was about to kick Naruto higher into the air, but was stopped by a glowing kick to his chest that sent him flying back. Naruto landed safely on the ground as he saw Lee recover and do the same. Naruto was surprised at Lee's durability, due to the fact he added a good amount of aura to that hit. Not only that, but his attacks are fierce and strong. "I feel the pain from each hit, even the ones I blocked. I have to take this fight more seriously." "Yash, Naruto-kun!" Lee bellowed excitedly. "Your flames of youth are very tense right now, so I will have to shine brighter." Lee vanished in a burst of speed. Naruto quickly activated his aura sight, causing his vision to become sharper. This action saved Naruto from a devastating blow to his face, as he was able to dodge the punch. Grabbing Lee's wrist, Naruto pulled Lee forward once more and kneed him in the gut before tossing the bowl-cut kid over his shoulder. Lee skidded on the ground before he recovered his bearings and got back to his feet. Lee, while honestly enjoying the small spar, was surprised by Naruto being able to see him. Fire lit in Lee's eyes as he prepared to take this match more seriously. Ryulu watched the match closely, just barely being able to keep up with Lee's speed. The young Genin-to-be was definitely skilled and his speed was incredible. Naruto has activated his quick attack just to be able to dodge Lee, but Lee is still keeping pace with it. Naruto might have to use one of his trump cards soon if he hopes to win this match. At the same time, Ryulu was confused about something. Looking to Tenten to voice his question, he called out to her, having to use his telepathy to do so. Hey Tenten-san, how come Lee has yet to do a single ninjutsu or even genjutsu? All he's done is taijutsu, how come? That's because Lee can only use taijutsu, Tenten responded, shocking Ryulu. His chakra coils are so damaged that even low-level jutsu is impossible for him. He can still use chakra, but that's about it. Using it for ninjutsu and genjutsu is impossible for him. Ryulu looked at Lee, who just kicked Naruto into the ground, with newfound respect and anticipation. To be this skilled and not be able to use jutsu is very impressive. It's like fighting the current heads of the Hitmonlees, Hitmonchins, and Hitmontops. Those three would love to have a match against him. As would I. Naruto just blocked a punch from Lee and thrust an open palm strike to Lee's chest. The green-clad boy ducked under the strike and knocked Naruto's legs from under him. Twisting his body, he lifted Naruto higher off the ground and slammed him back into it. Lee was about to slam his leg into Naruto's chest, but instead had to block a kick aimed for the left side of his head as Naruto tried to spin kick it. There was enough force behind the kick to make Lee skid away and give Naruto time to think. Lee is way too good at taijutsu, he thought as he analyzed the destroyed field. I can also tell he's holding back, excluding the obvious weights that are under his leg warmers. I'm holding back too since I haven't used my attacks just elements, but he's still hard to keep up with. A big grin made its way onto Naruto's face, as a fire burned in his glowing eyes. Let's kick this up a notch or two, Lee. Letting his aura flow to his legs and become denser, Naruto took off, as a blur to everyone except Neji, Lee, and Ryulu. While Lee could still see him, due to being used to moving and fighting at high speeds, he was caught off guard by the sudden burst of speed again as an aura-enhanced fist slammed into his face. Lee was sent backwards from the punch. Naruto cooled his aura and gathered it in his fist as a cold air seemed to come from it. I hope I can do this right this time. He took after Lee, who regained his bearings. Lee easily blocked the fist, missing the smirk forming on Naruto's face. The blow wasn't necessarily powerful, but the effect of the punch is what surprised the team. The young fighter felt his arm grow colder, and his eyes widened when he looked down. His arm was being encased in ice. Lee jumped away from Naruto, in fear that Naruto may freeze him completely in ice. Naruto smiled at his accomplishment, though he frowned when his lost its light blue glow. Looking at Lee, Naruto explained what happened. You see, Lee, the move I used on you is called Ice Punch. I guess you could say it's a mix between both taijutsu and ninjutsu. I encase my fist in a cooling energy that flows from outside my chakra coils. Once I make contact with my target, the energy flows into my opponent, and will freeze them by affecting the energy outside the coil, similar to my own. It's a difficult technique to use. At Naruto's explanation, Lee looked shocked at the effectiveness of the attack. To make a long story short, he could freeze his opponents by just touching them with his fist. What I didn't tell him was that I have yet to come close to mastering the attack. Hell, this is only the second time that I was able to pull it off, Naruto thought. The fact that it worked so well was pure luck. Naruto-kun, you are truly a splendid fighter, and your flames of youth only keep getting brighter. They are truly inspiring, Lee said in both a serious and warm tone. Getting into another fighting stance, Lee gave Naruto a determined grin. I will now take this fight more seriously as you have proven to be a skilled fighter. If Naruto was honest with himself, he felt like sweating in worry. Even with his impressive skill set at his disposal, it was all useless if he couldn't hit his target. The only attack he had to increase his speed at the moment was barely keeping up as is, and that's with his enhancement of aura. Plus he has yet to master his more powerful attacks, just using Ice Punch was already pushing it. I'll have to stack up boost attacks, Naruto thought to himself. I will only use that if I need to, as a last resort. Focusing his aura, Naruto prepared his next attack. Lee vanished once more, only this time only Neji and Ryulu could track him. Before he could react, Naruto was sent flying backwards by a crouching Lee. This speed caused everyone except Tenten and Niji to gasp in shock. Incredible! Riola thought, surprised and now completely focused on the spar. I can still keep track of him, but it requires me using my aura to do so now. I never expected someone to move this fast. Riola was a skilled tracker, and barely anything has gotten past his senses, whether it is his instincts or aura in general. For someone to push him to use his aura to track them just testifies their skill. Even Zorua, Naruto's laziest partner, was now awake and watching the battle. That human, Rock Lee, is really skilled. His teammates must also be skilled. This could lead to some interesting days finally. His gaze turned to Riola, whose aura was slightly fluctuating. I wonder how long Riola will be able to keep himself under control as the fight progresses. I might have to make them stop soon if Riola causes another repeat. The shaking of the ground knocked him from his thoughts as he turned his gaze back to the two fighters. Lee was standing in a small dent in the ground he formed with one of his punches, due to Naruto barely dodging it. No more playing, Naruto thought. If I don't get serious, I may seriously hurt here. Add to the fact I will definitely lose too. Naruto charged forward as he gathered aura into his mouth, quickly feeling a burning heat from it. Ember! He shouted as he shot small, but fast, balls of fire at Lee. Surprised by the attack, Lee began dodging the flames. As the last fireball flew past him, Lee ran towards Naruto, an invisible blur to his opponent. Naruto, not taking a chance, gathered aura into his mouth once more as he aimed it to the ground. Smoke screen! He screamed as he shot a cloud of thick black smoke. When it hit the ground, it spread out quickly and completely blocked Naruto from view. Lee stopped short of the smoke and back flipped away from it. When he landed, he didn't notice the grass glow slightly and tie itself together. His back heel hit the knot, and he fell backwards and slammed into the ground, causing a small crater to form. Tenten's eyes widened, confused by Lee falling as if he was tripped. Lee may be an idiot sometimes, but he would not make a mistake like that, especially in a fight. Plus, to cause a crater, even a small one, from such a simple-looking fall was confusing to her since he wasn't heavy or anything. Something is not right here. Niji narrowed his eyes at Lee falling. He may see Lee as a loser sometimes, though his father says he's an exceptional fighter, but he knew Lee well enough that he would not make a mistake like that. Not after all the training that guy puts into his skull. Something caused Lee to fall, that much he was certain. It was not circumstantial. Riola smirked, knowing what happened to Lee. Grass knot, a very versatile grass-type attack where the heavier the opponent then the more damage the attack does to them. When dealing with these specific humans, the rules change slightly due to the presence of chakra in their coil system. The more chakra that the target has, then the more damage. And judging by the damage and the crater, he has a decent amount of chakra. The damage was more due to the chakra than his weight, since he obviously doesn't weigh much. Sensing danger coming from the cloud of smoke, Niji activated his Byakugan activated on pure instinct. Seeing a buildup of energy, Niji called out to his sparring teammate. Lee, don't let your guard down. Lee, alarmed, looked towards the smoke in time to see the same fireballs from earlier emerge and rush at him. Lee was about to jump out of the way, until he felt he could not move his legs. Looking down, he saw another Naruto had a tight grip on his ankles. His eyes widened as he brought his arms up to try and defend himself against the attack. The fireballs exploded upon impact with Lee's arms, not only destroying the ice left on Lee's arms, but also sending Lee sailing backwards. Lee's back skidded against the ground into a nearby tree. Naruto walked out of the dissipating smoke, a bead of sweat rolling down his face. The sudden change between using his aura and his chakra can be taxing as he has yet to master the transition. He can use them both for simple tasks without tiring, but for attacks and jutsu is a whole different level. His use of grass knot, which he has yet to master either, then the fast change to using chakra to make a shadow clone, followed by another change back to his aura so he could fire another ember attack was very taxing. The switches alone took his breath away. At least, Naruto thought as he slowly regained his breathing. He isn't going to get back up. Naruto looked toward his downed opponent, only for his eyes to widen in shock. Albeit weak-kneed, Rock Lee was standing back up and looked ready to continue their match. Lee's pain tolerance is incredible. His whole body must be screaming against him right now. Naruto thought to himself as his own legs felt heavy. I have to go and use it if I hope to win. Concentrating, Naruto began to gather the energy in his body once more, causing a different feeling to begin forming. Ryoru, Zorua, and Eevee were surprised by the red-tipped blonde's action. They were not expecting Naruto to be forced to use that power so soon, especially since he still needs to work on his control in that state. Okay, that is enough sparring for the day. The loud yell broke Naruto's concentration as he looked towards the source along with everyone else. To his and his Pokemon's surprise, the yell came from a man who looked like an older version of Lee, with a few differences. He wore the same green jumpsuit, and the same leg warmers. The only real difference was that the older version of Lee had a bowl cut, while Lee did not. Plus, the older version of Lee had a green flak jacket, signifying him as a Jonin. The Jonin jumped from the tree he was in and landed between the two fighters with a huge smile on his face. I apologize for being so unyouthful as to end this most youth-inspiring match, but we have a mission today. Niji nodded his head as he crossed his arms. Tenten went to check on Lee, and Lee cheered loudly. Naruto gave the loud genin an amused grin before turning his gaze to the Jonin, who returned the gaze. I must admit, young man, the older man said. You were very impressive. Your flames of youth were shining brightly, it was difficult to gaze into. May I get your name? Sure thing, Naruto shrugged. My name is Naruto, and who are you? My name is Mato Guy, the beautiful green beast of Konoha. The now named guy yelled out as he gave a large toothy grin that flashed light from the bright sun. Naruto chuckled at Guy's strange antics, clearly amused by how like he and Lee are. When being around Pokemon and their strange antics, especially the prank-happy ghost types, not much can bother him. Well, I'll let you guys get back to your mission, Naruto said as his exhaustion began to fade. Turning to the three older kids, Naruto gave them a big smile. It was nice meeting you guys. Lee, I hope we meet again soon and finish our match. It was really fun. Naruto was being honest. He didn't expect for someone his age, if slightly older, would be able to give him such a rewarding spar, especially with how much he has learned. After all, Naruto would class himself at low chunin, mid chunin at best. Lee gave Naruto a thumbs up and a wide grin that flashed in the light. Yash, I hope we could let our flames of youth clash in a most exciting battle once more, Naruto-kun. I will see you soon, my new youthful friend. Niji and Tenten's sweat dropped at Lee while Guy held a proud smile as tears fell from his eyes. Lee, you are such an inspiration of youth. I'm so proud of you. Lee turned to his sensei with his own tears falling from his face. Thank you, Guy-sensei. I will continue to make you proud, and should I fail, I shall run around Konoha 100 times using only my hands. Yeah, I'm going to now, Naruto drawled before he ran off, his instincts telling him to stick around lest he be scarred. Around the Pokemon, let's say he's learned to trust that nagging instinct both inside and outside of battle. His Pokemon quickly followed after him. No one noticing that Niji was watching him closely. Just what was that strange power he was using? I know for a fact that most of the time he was not using chakra. The only time he used chakra was when he made that clone of his. Then before Guy-sensei stopped them, he was beginning to use a new type of energy that was like either yet the same as them. Just who are you, Naruto? Naruto quickly made his way back into the village, a satisfied grin plastered on his face. He couldn't help it. That match with Lee was so satisfying. He heard Tenten tell Ryola that Lee could only use taijutsu, and normally such a handicap would make one's ninja career obsolete. But that guy, he was the opposite of the norm. I couldn't even keep up without my aura, and even then I needed quick attack. I may have only used my true offensive attack towards the end. It doesn't change the fact that he was still holding back. Naruto was no fool, childish at times, but no fool. He knew if he had kept the fight straight hand-to-hand against Lee, he would have lost. Not something he likes to admit, but he had to face the facts. Lee was both faster and stronger than he was without a doubt. He needed to up his taijutsu training to rectify that issue, and soon. So Zoro began as he walked and smirked towards Naruto. How does your ass feel after it got beaten so badly by Lee? The dark type burst into laughter as Naruto turned a glare towards the gray fox, completely ignoring the look sent their way by villagers at Zoro's loud burst of laughter. Forgetting the walking plush toy's last comment, Naruto responded as he turned his back. I honestly wasn't expecting a genin to be so skilled. I actually might have a great sparring partner. This will only serve to help make me stronger. Naruto couldn't help the excitement that entered his voice. How are you feeling though, Naruto? Evie asked as she rode on his head. You were about to use that power, but it's a risk for you right now since you have yet to master it. The last time you tried to use it, it tore you apart on the inside. The concern in her voice was evident. I'm fine, Evie, Naruto said soothingly as he looked towards the setting sun. The energy didn't form in time for me to be affected. I will master it someday. I just need to find a way. He clenched his fist in determination. Looking to the left, Ryola stopped walking. Someone is here, Naruto. This caused them all to stop walking and look to the direction that the emanation Pokemon gazed. You can come out now! Naruto yelled out, his voice echoing through the quiet forest. Waiting for a few moments, a figure appeared in a swirl of wind and leaves. The figure was tall and wore a black, full body cloak. The only part noticeable was the white weasel mask. This signified this man as one of Konoha's ANBU Black Ops. Naruto Uzumaki, the man spoke in a muffled tone due to the mask. It is good, but he was interrupted by an annoyed Naruto. Stop right there, Naruto said as he stared into the figure's mask's eye holes. We are friends, damn it, so stop addressing me such a way, Itachi. Naruto knew who it was, due to him recognizing the aura signature of the team. The figure stood for a few moments, before he slowly removed the weasel mask and revealed the young Uchiha heir's handsome face. His facial expression was emotionless, but his eyes widened a slight fraction, showing how surprised he was at Naruto knowing who he was under his mask. I'm surprised that you knew it was me, Naruto-kun, Itachi spoke in a calm tone. Curious, how did you know? I never told you which ANBU I was when we spoke to each other. Naruto chuckled at finally getting one over the Uchiha that he saw as an older brother. He met Itachi when he was 5 years old and practicing his chakra control by doing the tree walking exercise and transferring to water walking. The concept was to jump from a stable chakra flow to a constantly changing surface. The fact of the sudden change was really difficult for him, and he kept sinking into the water or would jump using too much and destroy the tree altogether. Exhausted, angry, wet, and cold, Naruto sat on the ground and felt like he wanted to cry. Luckily for him, he was found by Itachi, who felt bad after seeing the state the 5-year-old was in. After he offered his assistance, Naruto began to get the exercise much faster than before. Turns out, Naruto was the type of learner that needed a simple explanation while doing said instructions. This allowed him to truly excel and learn at a much faster rate than just doing it. He wasn't much for book learning, it took him longer to learn. Naruto sighed as he returned his attention to the stoic Uchiha. Not that I'm not happy to see you, Itachi and I, but why are you here? I felt your chakra here in the forest while heading home after my patrol shift was over, he said as he gave Naruto a small smile. His attention turned to the strange creatures with his surrogate little brother. Who are they, Naruto? Naruto chuckled as he grinned. These are my friends and partners, Ryoru, Zora, and Eevee. They are all very strong and very faithful friends. Itachi looked to the 3 creatures before he bowed slightly to them, causing the 3 Pokemon to look at him strangely. Thank you all for looking after Naruto, he said gratefully, though he was unsure if they would understand him. To his surprise, they returned the bow. It's been our pleasure, Ryoru said, enjoying the surprise from the stoic Uchiha, but he kept his composure. Naruto has been a great partner, and we are proud to be by his side. Itachi looked to Naruto, looking for an explanation. So Naruto, what are they exactly? No offense to you all, but creatures with your appearance are not exactly normal. Plus, with how absent you have been lately, Naruto, I can only assume it involves them in some way. Naruto sighed as he figured he would get this from Itachi. He is always very calculative after all. Due to this, he knew Itachi would be able to tell if he was lying almost instantly. I'm sorry, Itachi and I, Naruto said guiltily. I didn't want to avoid you and the others, but I felt that I really needed to be alone for a while. I needed to train so I wouldn't fall behind, and you are right about one thing, I was with these 3 during my training. As for whom they are, Naruto paused as he looked towards Ryoru, and who gazed into his eyes and nodded slowly. I wish for that to remain a secret for now, and I-san, he finished as his eyes darted to the right so quickly that Itachi almost missed it. Waiting for a moment, Itachi understood the meaning as he nodded. Of course, Naruto, Itachi said smoothly. I won't push the matter since I trust you. He turned as he began to walk away. Also stop by the compound when you get the chance, we all miss having you over. He left in a shunshin before Naruto could respond. Said Blonde turned around as he walked away from the clearing, keeping his aura sense on full alert. He sensed an unknown aura signature spying them as he spoke to Itachi, though it was Ryoru who sensed it first and warned him, which was the reason that he did not answer Itachi's question. Itachi thankfully understood Naruto's message when he looked to the spy's direction. A smirk appeared on Naruto's face as Itachi's aura appeared behind the supposed spy. For a moment nothing happened, till the aura of the spy slowly disappeared as it was taken in by the earth. That's another difference between aura and chakra. When you die, your chakra is taken by the Shinigami due to that being connected to one's life, their very soul. Aura, on the other hand, will return to the around you, giving it life once more. The more dead or desolate the land is, the less aura it takes from you. Your aura can even fuse with the air or seas, but it almost always returns to nature. The only exception being, there is a catalyst that routes the aura to a signature area or item. In these cases, you can use this aura to learn who was there, as the aura cannot be absorbed. Naruto and his Pokemon continued with their pace as they re-entered the village. Some were glaring at them, main targets being Naruto, Zora, and even Eevee, while others just stared at them strangely. The looks ranged from curious, scared, to awe, though that mostly pertained to the children. Naruto glared back at the crowd, not liking the way they were looking to his friends. They could glare at him all they want, but no harm will come to the Pokemon under his care. He released a small amount of his aggressive aura that caused the villagers to sweat in fear of the feeling that came from Naruto. It showed very clearly that he wouldn't back down from them, consequences be damned. He was ready to break every bone in their body if they took so much as a step in their direction. They quickly looked away, or hurried out of sight of the angered young man. Jerks, better keep away from my friends, he thought angrily as he continued to walk, his Pokemon by his side. I'll freaking kill if it means the safety of the Pokemon. As his anger continued to rise, Eevee looked at Naruto worriedly. She didn't like to see her friend so mad, so she decided to attempt to cheer him up. Quickly looking around, she spotted a store that had flowers growing out the front. Running over to it, she picked up 3 that she thought were pretty, but before she could run back to Naruto with them, a shadow loomed over her. Before Eevee had time to react, 2 hands shot forward and grabbed the evolution Pokemon. Riolu stopped as he felt that something was wrong and took notice that Eevee was missing. Guys, where's Eevee? He asked in a slight panic. Losing Eevee, a fox species Pokemon, in a village with a big distaste for foxes, was not something that would end well. Zora and Naruto stopped instantly as they noticed that Eevee was missing. Naruto wasted no time as he stretched out his senses in an attempt to locate Eevee's aura. This action was quickly followed by Riolu, who also spread out his aura. It took them only a few seconds for them to find their friend's aura, but also another aura squeezing her. This caused Riolu and Naruto to rush at the signature in anger and slight panic, mostly from Naruto, and Zora not far behind them. Naruto began channeling aura to his hand as he prepared an aura-based technique he learned called Force Palm, ready to severely hurt whoever was daring to harm his friend. Coming upon the evildoer, Naruto was about to strike in anger, only to pause at the sight before him. Riolu froze beside Naruto as he saw what caused his friend to pause. The only one not frozen was Zora, who was too busy laughing at the sight. Before the 3 partners was the evildoer, a young girl that Naruto knew of, her short blonde hair being a dead giveaway. She had pale blue eyes and slightly pale skin. She wore a light red kimono with a blue ribbon around her stomach. She was slightly shorter than Naruto was. This girl was Ino Yamanaka, heir to the Yamanaka clan and a close friend to Naruto's sister Mito. She also has a deep infatuation with his friend Sasuke. The young girl was squealing in pure joy as she skipped around, Eevee trapped in a deep embrace. She kept switching between squeezing Eevee, or nuzzling the evolution Pokemon, yelling about how adorable Eevee was. Said Pokemon was struggling to escape Ino's loving hug and affections, both because she was embarrassed due to her shy nature and because she couldn't breathe. In her struggle, Eevee was about to use an attack to force her to let go, but stopped when she heard Naruto's voice. "Excuse me, Ino," Naruto called out, getting her to stop squeezing Eevee. "I understand that my friend is cute and all, but can you let her go? She's not a fan of not being able to breathe. In fact, she loves her air very much." Ino looked down to find that Eevee was desperately trying to get free from her grip. She blushed slightly before setting Eevee down on the ground. "Sorry about that, she was just so cute that I lost control of myself." She looked as Eevee ran to Naruto and jumped onto his left shoulder. Naruto smiled as he looked at the evolution Pokemon and rubbed her head softly, causing Eevee to lean into his touch in calm delight. The two were completely unaware of the effect the scene and Naruto's warm smile had on Ino, as a blush spread across her cheeks. "Wow, I didn't know Naruto had such a handsome smile," Ino thought in surprise. While she had seen the oldest Uzumaki Namikaze plenty of times before, due to being good friends with Mito, she had never really paid him much attention. Now that she is looking at him, she couldn't help but admire how handsome he actually was. The red tips framed his face perfectly, the dark red tips actually making his heterochromia eyes more beautiful and mesmerizing. The fading light from the lowering sun hitting him just right, making it seem as if he was glowing. She was so lost in her gazing of Naruto, she almost didn't take notice of him trying to gain her attention. I'm sorry, Uzumaki-kun. What were you saying?" "First of all, Naruto will be just fine, Ino," Naruto responded. "I actually hate formalities. Secondly, I was just going to say bye and that you should probably get home soon since it's getting dark." "Yeah, you're right, Naruto-kun," she replied, still having the gorgeous image of Naruto stuck in her head. She turned around and began to make her way home, trying to get the thought out of her head. "I like Sasuke-kun," she chanted mentally. Naruto nodded, confused about her adding the kun suffix to his name. He turned and made his way back home. Eevee sat on his shoulders so she would not get lost again. Naruto traveled through Konoha's streets and made it to the front of the Namikaze home. He channeled aura to his senses to see if anyone was home and may be able to avoid dealing with them. His window began locked, so he wasn't able to sneak in that way. He frowned as he sensed that they were all in the living room, most likely relaxing or having family time. He sighed as he looked down to his Pokemon partners, unsure of how to explain them to the family inside. He knew when he gave his excuse about them in class earlier that Iruka was definitely suspicious. Academy students he could lie to, they not having the training to detect things so easily yet. He was even skilled enough to lie to trained genins and get away with it. Now lying to Chunin and higher was a whole other thing in general. These were trained shinobi, having been taught the art of deception, no matter how subtle. He could maybe trick some, but those were the ones who didn't take their training as seriously as others, or they underestimate him, not seeing him as a threat at all. For others, especially the Hokage, his lying skills were not up to par and knows they will be able to tell instantly. I could just ignore them, Naruto thought to himself. He shook his head as he knew that would most likely not work. They would just follow me all the way up to my room and I don't want them near my stuff. We can do this, Naruto, Eevee chimed as she nuzzled his cheek. We will help you, Naruto smiled at Eevee, trying to raise his spirits. He rubbed her head and thanked her. Let's do this, guys. Opening the door, Naruto entered, and as he said earlier, all 4 members of the Namikaze were found in the living room. Kushina was looking through the family photo album with a solemn expression on her face. Minato sat across from her and was looking through papers as he was signing them. Across from each other by the table in the middle of the room were Nami and Nito. They looked to be playing a game of shogi, a game where Nami was obviously losing. She wasn't one for games that required patience or strategy. As he entered, he immediately gained everyone's attention. Kushina looked at him with watery eyes. Minato's was both solemn and calculating. His sister's eyes held both regret and wonder. Naruto merely closed the door and made his way through the room, hoping to be able to get away without being bothered. He didn't want to be around the source of his rising anger. Sadly, it was not meant to be, as Minato called out to him. May I help you, Hokage-sama? Naruto asked in a polite yet monotone voice. He will not call Minato his father, due to him not deserving the title from him. To Naruto, Giratina was more of a father than he has ever been. Minato suppressed the urge to flinch at not only Naruto's tone, like he was a stranger he didn't want contact with, but the fact that he called him by his title and not dad. Yes, we would like to talk to you about a few things. His eyes gazed to the 3 Pokemon for a moment before they returned to his son's heterochromia eyes. I figured, Naruto sighed mentally before nodding, since he knew he wasn't getting out of this. He made his way to a wall and leaned his back onto it. Eevee simply moved her way to his head as she tried to look serious too, only for her to look even more adorable. Riolu stood next to him and crossed his arms as he stared coldly at the family before him. Zoro just curled by the other side of Naruto and looked like he was sleeping. Naruto knew that that was only half right, since Zoro did not lower his ears, meaning he was listening to the upcoming discussion. Naruto, I wanted to first congratulate you on your fight earlier today, Minato began sincerely. He heard about his son's match from his wife and Iruka. To say he was both impressed and shocked would be an understatement. Naruto not only defeated Sasuke Uchiha, who was a prodigy in his own right, but he did it without getting hit. Not only that, but he won using an unknown elemental water jutsu. It's amazing that a child, not even a genin yet, was able to perform such an advanced jutsu form. It spoke volumes of his son's talent and skill, which could only be compared to prodigal levels. Unfortunately, it also rose a ton of questions, the main being, who trained his son? When could he do such techniques? What were those jutsus he used? Naruto nodded as he waited for the Hokage to continue his questioning. I must also say that the jutsu you have shown were very impressive. When did you learn such techniques, Naruto? This question caused his wife and daughter to pay more attention in a hope to find out more of the estranged Uzumaki. Naruto's gaze turned to Riolu slightly before looking back to Minato. I learned my techniques through my own hard work and studies, alongside my good friends, Naruto responded in a monotone voice, though you can head the warmth when he mentioned his friends. Why do you even care? Naruto, Kushina jumped in, ignoring the flinch she felt when she heard his suspicious tone. You're our son, of course we would want to know more about you and be there, she would have continued if Naruto's eyes didn't snap at her, filled with rage. And yet you two never made an effort before when I actually cared. Naruto yelled at them. You were both too busy to care for your only son, so your son to break free from his hope in you and got stronger. You think I'm going to just sit there and wait while everyone else gets stronger? Hell no, that's not going to happen. As Naruto yelled in frustration, he lost a slight grip on his aura as it changed to its aggressive nature, releasing its form of killing intent. The Namikaze's eyes widened in shock. They could practically taste the anger that was coming from Naruto. Nami and Mito began to shake slightly in fear from the amount of power coming from Naruto, though Mito's face held a small blush that no one noticed. Minato and Kushina, who shook themselves from the shock they felt, looked at Naruto more intently. They could get around his skilled taijutsu, they could understand his talent at healing, they could even rationalize his skills at elemental ninjutsu. But to have such a powerful and unique killing intent at his young age was something else entirely. The amount of skill to build up and release even a small dose of Ki takes training up to Chunin, high Chunin at that. Naruto, who's not even a genin, should not be able to do something like that so easily. His other skills alone were enough to make them wary. Put this among the list caused some bells to ring in their minds. Ryola caught the analyzing gaze from both of Naruto's parents and began to worry. Things are about to get complicated. It's not too surprising, Naruto's showing skills that should not be possible for someone of his age. Especially for someone who had no one to train him as far as they know. There is another Naruto, Minato said as his face turned more serious than parental. As much as he wanted to handle this situation like a father, he was the Hokage. The skills his son has shown means something is up. He had to be sure it wasn't a threat to anyone. You are an academy student, meaning that you're still a civilian, yet the skills you have shown so far show something completely different. While it's not a bad thing that you are this strong, the techniques you have shown have no documentation within Konoha, meaning they are outside skills. As the Hokage, that's very worrying and it needs to be addressed. Naruto narrowed his eyes, seeing the game that Minato was playing here. Lord Hokage, he began, ignoring the slight wince his words caused his father. I understand your worry, but you have to understand that I'm still protected under the laws of Konoha, where my techniques cannot be taken from me. A law created by the first Hokage to protect ninjas from losing their original move sets. Techniques not known to the village are protected and cannot be forced out of the use of said shinobi so long as there is no risk to the village and the user shows control of the jutsu or style. If all the criteria are met, then only the basic of the technique is required to be known. Naruto has done his research into the laws of Konoha, just for occasions like this one. Thanks to this law protecting his rights as a shinobi, he couldn't lose any of the techniques he's acquired to the greed in the village. He may know he was being reckless by showing his talents in the academy, but he was still taking precautions to protect the Pokemon. Minato's eyes widened at his words, surprised by his son's knowledge of Konoha's laws. This only raised more alarms in the village leader's head since his son seemed to know such an in-depth law. Not someone of his age group should normally know or care about knowing. He seems to be protecting more than just his techniques here, Minato thought as he looked to the Pokemon with his son. It has to do with these strange creatures that are usually by his side. I know that they are not normal. The power that they seem to possess show me that much. Ryola gazed discreetly at Minato, ready to defend himself and his friends if needs be. We need to talk to Giratina to teach Naruto more attacks. He's skilled in fighting, but not so much at being careful in his words. His father is more suspicious than at the beginning of this talk and Naruto isn't so good at political talks. Zorua sat up straighter as all laziness left his eyes. He didn't like the look Minato gave them, like they could be a threat that needed to be watched. Zorua could tell that everything going on would lead to suspicion to the Pokemon, no matter what was said. Naruto has to end this conversation, now. Naruto, honey, Kushina spoke up, getting everyone's attention. We are concerned about you, not just as your parents. 1 minute she tried to say but broke into a sad sob as the rage in his eyes was so clear to see. It wasn't hate-filled, like she was expecting to see in them, but it was an anger that has obviously built up. The only reason it wasn't making itself known was because Naruto held it in. Right now, none of you have any right to question me as either shinobi of Konoha or as parents of Naruto, Naruto replied coldly, not caring for his sobbing mother right now. He refused to be made to listen to people who never listened to him. As shinobi, while your worry is noted, it's completely unprecedented and unfounded. I have done nothing to cause any danger to Konoha or my person. In fact, with my now growing strength, I'll be helping Konoha grow stronger. Also, you can take Itachi Uchiha as an example of a shinobi who was strong at a very young age. He was even much stronger and more skilled than I was when he was the same age as I was, and he gained that skill mostly on his own. From what I can understand, you were the same Hokage-sama. Beyond the level of skill that was expected of an academy student, long before you were taken in and trained by Jiraiya-sama as his apprentice. As Naruto spoke, Minato and Kushina could not find any faults with his words or logic. Sure, Itachi was shown moves by his father, Fugaku Uchiha. Itachi was the one who mastered his skills on his own. So skilled that he graduated early, while rare, is not unheard of. Hell, more than half the things he's shown can be found at the Shinobi Library, at least the basics of them, which any academy student or upcoming shinobi can enter. As parents, you once again have no rights to question me. You had plenty of chances to me that you cared, to show that you loved me just as much as you did my sisters. In the end, I was let down by you two every single time. You guys fed me, so I thank you for that even if you most likely did it subconsciously, but you left me out of practically everything else. Training, family meetings, vacations, even birthdays. Not once have I heard a happy birthday Naruto, since I was 8 on onwards. Hell, the last gift that I got from you two was some kind of hand-me-down toy that you got at some sale, while my sisters each got brand new toys along with a mountain of other gifts, and that was years ago. Compared to them, I'm not worth a damn thing in your eyes. So just do us all a favor and just leave me alone. That's something that you are really good at after all. Let's go, Ryoru, Zora, and Eevee. He walks past his parents, who were both too stunned and hurt to stop him, with the 3 mentioned Pokemon in tow. He begins walking past his sisters who were openly crying, causing Naruto to pause as he gazed at them. Sighing, he addressed them in a much more soothing tone, calming his aggressive aura that he noticed was still active. Wipe your tears, Mito, Nami. Crying isn't becoming of Kunoichis of Konoha. Your tears should only be shed when you're either extremely happy or are in serious pain. But Narunai Mito began, only for Naruto to gently wipe the tears from her cheeks. Her sob was frozen in her throat as Naruto looked at her gently, his mismatched eyes glowing slightly in both kindness and power. She couldn't help the slight blush that warmed her face at his actions. Her sister wasn't any better as Naruto's kind gaze caused her heart to beat slightly faster. No buts, Mito, Nami, Naruto said to his sisters. Naruto resents his sisters, not because they did anything wrong. He resents that they got the better half of the deal in life. They got the love of their parents, were adored by most of the village, with only the occasional villager holding resentment towards them, were trained by very strong teachers on a constant basis, and became heirs to the clans, a right that should have been his. At the same time, he harbors no grudge against the two of them, even if he tries to convince himself otherwise. It wasn't their fault he was treated the way he was. They didn't abandon him, they never chose to ignore him, nor have they ever treated him badly. He can still remember Mito and Nami bringing him a slice of cake when he left their birthday parties, annoyed at being forgotten. Without another word to his family, Naruto made his way to his room. He didn't look back as he didn't want to be around his parents any longer. Just thinking of how they called themselves his parents sent a wave of anger through him. When he turned the corner, he made a dash for his room, his Pokemon right behind him. As he entered, he didn't bother to close the door as he knew Ryoru or Zoro would do it. As he jumped onto his small bed in exhaustion, he heard the click noise of his door closing. Not having to look, he continued to stare at his ceiling. I really messed up today, didn't I? His Pokemon, besides for a confused Eevee, nodded at his question. Not going to lie, you kind of revealed a whole more than you should have. It's fine to show that you are skilled, but you should have kept some things hidden away, Ryoru said to his partner. While he was all for Naruto doing his best, he did show too much of his skills. Yeah, Ryoru has a point, Naruto, Zoro added, yawning. You showed skill and that's perfectly fine, but you showed so much that now you made yourself a target for suspicion and now have too much attention on you, both positive attention and negative. Naruto sighed tiredly. He knew that they were right. He acted like a kid, even though he was one. Even still, he could have ended the fight with Sasuke a lot sooner than he had, but instead acted like it was a game. He wanted to show off the cool skills that he learned. By doing so, he probably made things much harder on himself. It was bad enough that there was a man out there with the knowledge that he can use grass-type attacks. Now he has to deal with the questions his skills raised up in the village. If his father is suspicious, then it won't be long before the council follows suit with asking questions that he does not want to answer right now. When Giratina finds out about this, he's going to be very displeased with me, Naruto thought with a shiver. He knows Giratina expects him to act professional since as an Aura Guardian, he will have tons of responsibilities that would require a professional mind. Why did I act such a way knowing this? I am not looking forward to Giratina's punishment when he finds out. During his time learning with the Pokemon, Naruto quickly learned one important rule: do not upset Giratina. His wrath and punishment still left him phantom pains throughout his body. Releasing a frustrated sigh, Naruto felt something soft rubbing against his cheek affectionately. Opening his eyes, he smiled as he saw Eevee was the culprit. He pets her head softly as he told her he felt better. Ryoru sat on the edge of the bed as Zoro laid to Naruto's left. So what's the plan now, Naruto? Zoro asked. He already knew that he and Ryoru are going to have to report Giratina and will have to stay in the reverse world for a few days to train with their teachers. Ugh, why can't I just sleep instead? Is that too much to ask? Zoro sighed mentally as he looked at Naruto. I am not too sure honestly, Naruto admitted as he gazed warmly at the curled-up Eevee on his lap as he continued to softly rub her head. From now on I have to be smarter with what I do, not be such a child out there. They know I have water techniques, a form of healing abilities, skilled at hand-to-hand, and if they were watching me fight Lee fire attacks. While it's rare for someone as me to have two elements, it's still not unheard of. I just have to be more careful not to show my other abilities, at least until I'm an official genin. That includes you guys too. Why is that, Naruto? A confused Eevee asked her best friends. While definitely strong for her young age, especially one without any parents to raise and only learned from various teachers, she does not know much else about the world. She hasn't studied about any rules or laws of the shinobi world, just that she needs to be ready to kill if the need arises. There was no room for the amount of compassion that Pokemon were mostly known for. Simple Eevee, Riolu responded to the evolution Pokemon. As an official genin, Naruto is permanently protected by the laws made for the shinobi specifically. As an academy student, Naruto falls under some civilian laws still, which can be used to exploit Naruto and force him to give up many things, one such being the summoning contract due to him being too young to understand something so complex. Now with him being an official shinobi of the village, that rule becomes null and void, the only other way around that being if he was being taught by a specific teachers. He could even go to bars and drink if he wanted to, though he will be limited to how much since he would only be a genin. So Naruto could actually lose us if they see Naruto is unfit to handle us? Eevee responded with a worried gasp. Riolu nodded as he noticed Naruto gritting his teeth in anger at the thought. Like hell he will lose his best friends. He will gladly go rogue and leave Konoha for good before he ever allowed that to happen. He would miss all of his other friends no doubt, but his Pokemon are his world first and foremost. We can still get around it. Once Naruto becomes a genin, Zoro responded as to calm Eevee down. Once a genin, officially, classes him as a shinobi, which means that Naruto no longer has to answer every single question of the village, so long as it doesn't endanger Konoha. His eyes glanced turned to Riolu for a few seconds, an action that went unnoticed by everyone else, before returning to Eevee. That also means that Naruto answers only to the Hokage and occasionally the Shinobi Council, the civilians no longer able to touch him. Listen, we can discuss all this another time, Naruto stated as he yawned. I'm exhausted from everything today, plus I still need to get up early tomorrow for the academy. He got up and began to change to his pajamas, deciding to shower in the morning. Are all of you going back to Reverse World tonight? Eevee shook her head at his question and moved next to Naruto's pillow and curled into a ball. Zoro gave a nod as he sighed before poofing away as he returned to the Reverse World. Riolu looked at Naruto with a worried gaze. Will you be alright without us, Naruto? He asked the red-tipped blonde. He and Zoro will be training for the next few days, so that means that it will only be Eevee and Ash. Naruto smiled as he nodded at his aura partner. I will be just fine, Riolu. If push comes to shove, I have several ways to escape, such as going to the Reverse World. Riolu nodded. Well, call us if you need us, he responded before he poofed away too. Naruto smiled at the spot Riolu was before he crawled under his blankets and slowly drifted to sleep. To the Reverse World. Appearing in a cloud of smoke, Riolu looked around. He found Zoro a short distance away, sitting next to a lake that slowly glowed in the moonlight. Took you long enough, I thought you were going to leave me by myself here, Zoro spoke out to Riolu. The emanation Pokemon smirked at him before giving him a thumbs up. Not a chance. I have to get stronger as well, you know. That's good, at least you two are ready to get started, a voice spoke up behind them, causing the two to look at who spoke. They were both tall Pokemon who gave them amused smirks. The first Pokemon was Zoroark, the final evolution of Zora. The second Pokemon was just as tall as Zoroark, but that's where the similarities end. The Pokemon is a bipedal, canine-like Pokemon, with fur that is predominantly blue and black. It possessed a short, round spike on the back of each forepaw, in addition to a third on its chest. It had a long snout and ears. It had a fang that protruded from its upper lip. It possessed cream-colored fur on its torso, and blue fur on its thighs that resembles shorts. It possessed a medium-length tail of the same blue color as well. It stood on its toes rather than on its entire foot. It had 4 small black appendages on its head that hung downward. This Pokemon was Lucario, the Aura Pokemon and the final evolution stage of Riolu. It was also Naruto's Riolu's primary teacher. So are you boys ready to get this training on the way? Lucario asked. Riolu raised his fist to his chest and bowed slightly in respect to the two experienced Pokemon. Zoro sighed in annoyance before lying down. Since it seems that you are giving us a choice, he said as he yawned, I will just go to sleep. Have fun, you Guichi. He began before it was lifted up by Zoroark holding him by the gruff of his neck. Shut up, you lazy brat, Zoroark said in amusement. You and Ryolu are going to be worked to the bone so that you can kick serious ass, dipshit. So get off your ass and start running those stubby ass legs of yours, brat. She threw Zoro forward, who stumbled before finally landing on his feet. Get running, brats. We want 10 laps around this lake right now. If you are not done in 1 hour, and you better thank your asses that Lucario here convinced me to reduce the time limit, then your slow asses will start over while dodging our attacks. Now move! In fear, the two Pokemon took off running so they don't anger the laughing Zoroark. You didn't have to be so rough with the two, Zoroark, Lucario said next to Zoroark. The Dark-type Pokemon shook her head at her friend's words. You are too soft on them, Lucario, she said. In the world we now inhabit, we can't be so soft and delicate. We have to be crass and ready to do what needs to be done. Add to the fact, let's not forget how your student can get. We have to train Ryolu so he can gain complete control, while we train Zoro to stop should the worst happen. Lucario nodded at his fellow teacher's words, knowing the truth behind them. Could you at least tone down the cursing at the very least? Zoroark gave Lucario a mock-hurt look. Never, she replied. It's my fucking calling card, damn it. I thought you liked it anyway. Why must everyone be a damn critic? Lucario shook his head at her actions, which were now of her crying a waterfall of tears. Why can't she be the least bit normal? To the Namikaze's house. Not far from Naruto's own room, we find the parents of said young man talking. Minato was attempting to comfort his wife, who was distraught at Naruto's words. His words and complete distrust in them, his own parents, caused deep pains in both of their hearts. He even refused to refer to them as his parents, let alone his family. What are we going to do then, Minato-kun? Kushina asked her husband, her voice raspy. Our baby boy wants nothing to do with us. What if pushes us further away than he already has? What if he finds a different family? What if, when he graduates the academy, he decides to move out? We can't stop him by that point. He will be legally able to leave us. I don't want that to happen. I don't want to lose my baby boy, Minato-kun. Minato pulled his wife to his chest as he rubbed her long red hair soothingly. It worked, as he could hear Kushina's sharp cries turn to soft sobs. He had to figure out how to get his son back with his family, not just for him but his usually strong-willed wife. He couldn't stand to see his love in tears. Don't worry, Kushi-chan, he whispered in her ear. We will get our son back into our arms. We will show him how much we love him and how sorry we are for all these years. We will get our little maelstrom back, honey. Each word Minato whispered caused Kushina to relax. She agreed with her husband. They will bring her beloved Sochi back with his family. She will smother him with the love that she should have showed him to begin with. She will help him grow up into a strong and feared shinobi. The only question that remained in the minds of both S-ranked parents that brought back their depression. How are they going to do it? To Mito's and Nami's room. We find the sisters of Naruto lying in their room that they willingly share with one another. They could have their own room, but they were so used to sharing things that it just felt weird if they didn't. Currently we see Mito brushing her long hair in the mirror. On the bed behind her was Nami, who was reading a book that she got from the family library. Neither sister was really focused on their individual tasks, as the incident that they bared witness to earlier was still fresh in their minds. They were very caring of Naruto, never once forgetting about him, contrary to how it may seem. They were always busy training or being made to go to other clan compounds to help make closer relations with them, though they didn't mind since they have friends in them, though the Hyuga and Uchiha were distant with them. Mito couldn't forget the warm feeling Naruto gave off when he addressed him before leaving. He seemed so mature in that one moment as his eyes were so caring. A blush formed on her face as she thought about his heterochromia eyes, that she had to admit made him very cute. Mito shook her thoughts from her head as she realized what her thoughts were going. She wasn't embarrassed to think of Naruto in such a way, having known of many clans that have practiced such things like incest. At least that's what the old man Jiraiya has taught her. In fact, thanks to their dense chakra, the problems that come from such a union would mean absolutely nothing. Long story short, incest is not frowned upon as long as the right situations are met. While Mito sorted through her thoughts, Nami was thinking of Naruto as well, but in a different way. Unlike Mito, who was thinking of the comfort he gave, she was thinking of the power and fear. When she felt Naruto's power, she was terrified by the sheer force of the feeling. She could practically feel his anger emanating from him. To her, a girl who has rarely felt such rage before, she never expected for Naruto to possess such anger. Nami loved her brother, just as much as Mito does. Sadly, she never got to spend time with him to truly show him how much. She had at least been able to get him gifts on his birthday, due to knowing he didn't get much if anything. Mostly clothes that she got him when she goes shopping with her friends or their moms. She loved the tingling feeling she gets when she sees him happy, but this time it was completely different. She didn't feel his joy, just his anger, and that scared her. What if her dear brother began to hate her? What if he was angry at her for not always being there for him? What if she was a horrible sister in his eyes? These thoughts terrified her. She didn't want Naruto to hate her. She wants to be in his life, she wants to stand by his side, and she wants to make him happy. She will make him happy. No matter what, she will show Naruto that she loves him. No matter what it takes. Light shone brightly through the window of Naruto's room and hit the sleeping forms of Naruto and Eevee. The normal-type Pokemon was curled up beside her partner as her eyes fluttered open. She yawned and stretched as she stood up and looked around to find her friends still fast asleep. Eevee nudges her head against Naruto's in an attempt to wake him up, only for him to grumble and lazily waving her away and turning away from her. Eevee pouts at Naruto's back at him, brushing her off like she was a bother to him. She narrows her eyes as she channeled aura to her teeth as she opens her mouth and mixes the dark attribute of aura to it. Bite! Eevee yelled out before chomping on Naruto's arm, causing him to yell out in pain as he jumped out of bed. Eevee looked at Naruto playfully as she tried to hold in her chuckles. That will teach him to ignore me and shoo me away like I'm some type of pest. Naruto narrows his eyes at Eevee, not happy being awoken so violently, as his wound began to heal up like it never happened. Eevee, did you really have to wake me up in such a damn way? That hurt. You wouldn't wake up Naruto, Eevee responded playfully. I tried the nice way, but you just shooed me away. Naruto scratched the back of his head before looking to the clock by his bed. It's still early, classes wouldn't start for another 3 hours. Looking to the normal-type Pokemon, Naruto raised an annoyed eyebrow. Any reason you woke me up this early? Giratina-sama told me and the others to make sure you don't slack off on your training, Eevee replied. Since Ryalu and Zora are going to be gone for a while, that job falls to me. Naruto sighed at her words, knowing that he would lose the argument in no time, especially if it was on Giratina's orders. Getting out of bed, Naruto began gathering his clothes for his 2-hour training session. Slipping out of his night clothing, he slipped on his training uniform. He now wore a tight, orange and black long-sleeved shirt. He wore slightly baggy pants that hung loosely around his ankles, but were tied by strings. He wore dark red shinobi sandals that were hardened and slightly dirty. These clothes were made for him by the many motherly Pokemon in the reverse world, which helped him due to not knowing which clothing had the flying Thunder God seals. He smirked as he looked himself over before turning to the young evolution Pokemon. Let's get going, Eevee. We will start with a nice jog so I can at least wake up before perfecting our attacks. Eevee nodded her head as she jumped onto Naruto's left shoulder as he left the room. Channeling some aura to his senses, Naruto noticed that the only one up was his mother, who was still in her bedroom. Moving quickly, Naruto made his way downstairs and only stopped for a moment to grab an apple and some water before they left. Outside, Eevee jumped off her trainer's shoulder as she stretched. Smirking to the small Pokemon, Naruto bent low as he got into a running position. Get ready, Naruto whispered as he placed his hands on the ground. Get set, Eevee replied back, determination and concentration in her voice. Her body was adjacent to the ground, ready to take off. Go/go. They yelled as they ran off at top speed, being barely a blur to an untrained eye. Naruto looked to his left as he saw Eevee smiling as she began to gain more speed. I forgot how fast Eevee really was, he thought as he smiled. Out of the 4 of them, Eevee was actually the fastest, with Zora being the second, then Naruto and lastly Ryalu, but not by much. He knew this speedy run was merely a casual pace for Eevee, meaning he had a lot to do to catch up to her speed. After running for about 5 more minutes, Naruto and Eevee made it to an unused training ground and were happy to see how peaceful it was. He looked to the young Pokemon, who wasn't even winded by the run. Are you ready to get started, Eevee? Naruto asked. Eevee nodded enthusiastically. Alright then, let's get started with our control. The Namake's household. Kushina was in the kitchen as she began to make breakfast for her and her family, sipping from a cup of coffee. She cracked some eggs as she poured the contents into a bowl. Next to her was a shadow clone that was setting the table for her. The young mother was lost in thought as she wanted to make sure that this breakfast was absolutely delicious. She wanted to make it taste perfect for her estranged son as her first step to bringing him back into the family. Kushina had no idea how to start connecting with her son, not after foolishly neglecting him for so long. Her baby boy wanted nothing more to do with them, and she couldn't blame or fault him for it. She would be beyond pissed too if she was forgotten by her own family in favor of her other siblings, even if she didn't mean for it to seem that way. As she thought more about Naruto and how to make him happy, her mind went to the skills that he has shown them. Where did he learn to fight the way he did at the academy? Where did he learn those strange jutsus from? What exactly are those weird animals that follow him around? There were so many questions that worried her about her son. When did he even unlock his chakra? Unlocking one's chakra was a very dangerous process if you do it wrong. She was terrified that he may have did it by himself. She could imagine how she would feel in his position as he tried to find his chakra while she and her husband helped his sisters. All because he was forgotten by his family, by her. Before she could think further, footsteps were heard behind her, which caused her to turn around to see her two daughters enter the kitchen. They were dressed in their usual attire of civilian shirts and shorts. "Good morning, girls," Kushina called out to her daughters, who smiled at her. After getting a good morning in return, the older redhead looked around for her missing child. "Is Naruto-kun not awake yet?" "No, Kasan," Mito replied. "He's awake because he wasn't in his room. We thought he was down here already." She looked around for her older brother, but noticed that he was nowhere to be found. Nami poured herself some juice as it helped her to wake up easier. "Yeah, we wanted to see if he wanted to walk to the academy together. Maybe he's out on a walk or something since the academy isn't for another 45 minutes. Kushina smiled at her daughter's attempt to get close to their brother. It showed their traits as true Uzumaki, wanting to be close to your family. It actually made her pause to think, why did she ignore Naruto then? As both an Uzumaki and a mother, her son should have never left her mind. So why? "Ka-san, are you okay?" Mito asked in concern for her mother. Kushina didn't realize that a tear fell from her eyes as she was lost in her frantic thoughts. The oldest redhead smiled softly at her daughter's worry. "I'm okay, Mito dear," Kushina replied as she dried her tears and turned back to cooking. "Just had a lot on my mind this morning, sweetie. Is your father awake yet?" "Yeah, I'm up, Kushiken," Minato said as he entered the kitchen in his Hokage attire. "Though I can't stay long, unfortunately. I have to get to the office early today." He kissed each of his daughters on top of the head, and followed it by kissing Kushina tenderly on the lips. "Where's Naruto, by the way? I wanted to wish him a good day at school." Just as he spoke that, they heard the front door burst open, which were quickly followed by fast-paced footsteps, too soft to be a normal person's. The sudden noise caused Minato to pull out a tri-pronged kunai from his left pouch while Kushina took a stance with the kitchen knife in her hands. Her shadow clone even took a taijutsu stance in case it was needed. Both parents and the clone were ready in case the cause of the footsteps turned out to be hostile in any way.